And welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell.
Hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
There we go. You all right? The three of us. We were having some issues tonight with the recording. So if this all sounds fucked and weird and we're all out of sync and that, don't blame the editor, mate. Blame Virgin Media, who are a total shit, by the way.
Also, there's four of us. There's also four of us, not three of us.
No one said there was three of us, did they?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
What did I say?
You said the three of us.
Yeah.
Don't blame... I said the three of us.
I'd love to know who in Dave's head he just erased.
Yeah. Probably.
Almost definitely James. The thing is, right, I am all over the place today. I don't know. I'm coming off the back of the best day ever, and I don't know how to deal with life at the moment. I really don't know how to deal with becoming a civilian. My mum opened up a bottle of champagne yesterday at a barbecue, and I said I wouldn't drink it unless it was poured out by a Millwall player. Because that was how I was drinking my champagne on Saturday, people. That's how I was drinking my champagne on Saturday. Fuck me. Yeah, James, what happened last week? You going to explain yourself or no?
I was just sick, wasn't I? It's, a bit ill.
Sick, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, whatever. I'm not even going to dig you out for it. I can't be bothered. I'm in too much of a good mood, to be honest with you. Other than the internet problems we've been having, I'm in a pretty good mood. Should we just get straight to it then?
Can do.
Should we get to the feedback?
Let's. So a few weeks ago, Dave mentioned the Switch dock and the fact that he might just pick up a couple for the office. You know, just. Why not? Easier, innit? Better. Today, Nintendo have confirmed...
I just thought, hey, it would be really nice to get a dock for the office so I could take the Switch to work, pop it in and play Mario Kart in my lunch break with a few people. Perfect.
Lovely old job. I at the time, I did say, well, they're pretty expensive, but I guess you just didn't realise. But today, Nintendo have confirmed that they are £80 in the UK, and they go on sale on the 23rd of June. So... That's £80 for...
No, hold on, that sounds like... Surely you're not getting involved here. He's stepping on your turf, mate. It sounds like
to be honest, I wasn't going to put this in the news because I didn't want the argument. I was hoping we could just ignore it.
But because we didn't mention it, but because I said they're pretty expensive and you just glossed over it a few weeks ago, are you still buying two for the office, Dave, or...?
No, I'm absolutely not. We'll get to it. We'll talk about this now.
No, but see,
Sean,
I'm surprised.
I'm not happy with you being the fucking newsman anymore, to be quite honest with you. You sound like the Daily fucking Mail. Oh, I like Nintendo. I don't want to slag them off, so I just want to put that to one side. I won't put that in the news. Don't edit the news. Don't ever edit the news. You Nintendo fanboy loving prick.
So the Switch is the best-selling console in America 2 months in a row.
It's a good console. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, Nintendo's taking the total fucking piss with the dock.
It's the best console.
Like, the total piss. I have no idea why they're pricing it at this.
See,
I think it is disgusting.
But this is what I'm surprised about, Dave. I was genuinely surprised that you were surprised that it was so expensive. It's like everything Nintendo does is always expensive. You know, they always, like a piece of plastic, it's bound to be like really, really expensive. I mean, look at the Pro Controller.
No,
it's
hold on.
What?
This is becoming too much of a thing. Oh, it's Nintendo. You just, that's what they do. No, I'm sorry. There's pricing their Joy-Cons at £70, where you think, well, we don't know what technology's in them. We don't know, maybe they could justify, maybe this, that. This is a bit of plastic with a little bit of, with a connection board in it. It's ridiculous. I mean,
I totally agree. I mean,
I would be surprised if it cost them over £1 to make.
Yeah, sure. I'm not disputing the fact that it's a complete rip-off and they should be ashamed of themselves. But this is what they do. It's like you should be expecting it.
Not on this level, though, James. I mean, there's the joke of, they take the piss with things or whatever, and they do. We know that.
This is a company...
is next level shit.
Yeah, but this is a company that released like a handheld console without a power charger, for it.
I know,
that you had to pay extra for.
I know.
It's like, what do you expect?
That is... James, that's not the same level of piss taking.
It's ridiculous. Like buying a machine and you can't charge it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I I think the 3DS thing is worse than this. And this is expensive, and idiots will pay it. But like the fact, how can you launching a machine and having no charger in the box? That's
I mean, the 3DS thing is definitely more evil because that ruined a lot of Christmases.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt.
Mate, right, okay, you guys are idiots, right? Because
this is an this is an optional extra. It's not like nobody's forcing you to buy this.
No, shut up,
it does
James.
come with one.
The 3DS thing was bullshit. Yeah. The 3DS thing was total bullshit. But at the end of the day, you could I went out and bought a 3DS charger. I'm not justifying it. I am not justifying what they did. That was a level of bullshit that we haven't seen from Nintendo before then, right? I went out the same day, bought a charger for £5 from Argos or wherever it was.
Money
right?
bags.
And if you have one laying about, whatever. This is a bit of plastic with a connection thing in it that they are literally £80. I mean, genuinely, I do not believe that this. And when I say, they probably make it for £1, I'm being generous with that. I reckon it costs them pennies to make, and how can they fucking justify that in any way, shape, or form?
Do you know the only way they could justify it is if you could get a standalone Switch unit, handheld unit, without the dock for
£200. Exactly. Well, that's one thing. But I mean, I don't understand it from a business point of view either. Like, surely a good idea would be to get these docks fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Stick them in every hotel room. Stick them in, like, I mean, make a deal with a TV company where the dock's on the fucking back of the TV or some shit, I don't know. But surely they want the docks everywhere, because the more place you see these docks, the more place of things people are going to go, shit, yeah, I should get a Switch. You know what I mean? Like, then you can use it on every TV you come across. Sell them for a fucking £5. You still earn money out of it, you psychopaths. If they were £10, I'd have bought 2 by now, easy. Fucking £80. I mean, that is disgusting in my book. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you said it on the podcast, Matt, you said you muttered it while we were chatting about it last time. I didn't hear you during that conversation. And when I was editing it, I sent you a text message afterwards going, Matt, did I hear you right? Did you say that they were going to be, because you said £90 at the time, and I'm like, oh, it's still at 80. But no, you said £90 at the time. I said, did I hear you right? And you said, yeah, that's how much they're going to sell them for. And I was like, I was shocked. I genuinely shocked.
I can't remember. We'd talked about that, I'm sure, on the show, but everyone on Twitter was like, that everything's so expensive. The docks are really expensive in the US. I just assumed you knew that.
I knew that the pads were expensive, and I mean, the only cheap thing they do is that little bit of plastic that slides onto a Joy-Con, right? That's like £5, I think, £7, something like that.
No, that's £95.
Yeah, that's just gone up. I couldn't believe it, and I will never. No one could convince me that that's an acceptable price point in any way, shape, or form. It makes the things scratch the fuck out of the console in the first place. I mean, that's bad enough.
Maybe these ones don't. For £80,
like velvet lined.
Yeah. The Dock S.
My hope before the Switch was launched that there was going to be just a ton of like interesting docks coming out, like third-party docks. But by the sounds of it, so what is the dock? It's got 2 ports. It's got 4 ports, is it? It's got 2 USB outputs.
Yeah.
It's got a USB-C input, and it's got HDMI. And I mean, I, like many people, assume that it was a simple conversion thing, but it seems like there's some sort of chip in there that recognizes that it's a Switch and is probably not available to third-party companies. Am I right, or is there already alternative
there are
docks?
third-party docks on Amazon. There's one for £20. It comes out back end of May, so I think it's happening.
Hopefully, because I want to see some interesting ones. I want to see some people do some stylish stuff with the docks and stuff like that. I just want to see. I mean, it's an option to sort of get something a little bit smarter than that black bit of plastic. I don't hate the dock. I just think oh my God, how can you? I watched a lot of unboxing videos for the Switch, like as you do these days. And I mean, literally everyone was taking the thing out going, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, feel how cool that is to put that Joy-Con into the side of the screen and stuff. And then they pick up the dock and go, well, it's a bit flimsy and shit. Like, I mean,
that whole
it's
thing with scratching with the dock though, that seems to have sort of died down now. Nobody seems to be talking about that anymore.
You say that, I was taking the smug stance of like, oh well, maybe just treat it like it costs nearly £300 and you'd be all right. Because I eventually bought a screen protector for mine, thinking that I'd looked after the Switch. No, it's got fucking scratches on it. God knows how.
On the protector?
No, on the sorry, but this is prior to putting the protector on. It was just the first time I'd had a proper look at the screen. I was like, oh shit, no, I am scratching it. So thank God I've.
Well, just maybe look after it a bit, Sean. You know what I mean?
Well, clearly,
I wonder about that because like Rachel uses our one like all the time, and she's jamming that in and out like from the dock all the time. That was terrible. Anyways, it's like, and like it still looks fine, and I haven't got a protector on it. It's but it seems to be okay.
James.
Hello.
Really?
Daredevil.
You got to whack one of them on. I mean, it'll give you a heart attack. It took me about 8 attempts, but yeah, man, I'm glad I got mine on simply because it just gets fucking moved about all the time. I tried,
but I just got annoyed, and I just couldn't be bothered. It's fine.
It takes a lot of patience to get those bad boys on, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, right.
Okay, the next bit of follow-up is...
The bit of follow-up. That wasn't a bit of follow-up. I can't believe you're taking the beat. You're stepping on Sean's toes.
It's following you saying that you would happily buy a few for the office. Like the
well, to be honest,
manual.
Matt, I'm quite glad you're stepping on his toes because now that I found out that Sean is editing the news to make it more positive about Nintendo, I think we're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah. So next bit of follow-up is about a subject that's annoyed me this week, frankly. So we got an email. It's Adam from Stoke-on-Trent. I'm fairly sure. Is it?
It is. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, good. I got his name out. Yeah. Anyway, it says.
Before you read the email, can I tell you the story of what? Like, can I explain what happened on Twitter beforehand?
Yeah.
Someone sent me a message saying about your discussion with Donkey Kong doing the dab. Here's a picture of him doing the dab, and I also got a message from John Denton saying no, he does do the dab. You just got to see it's every 30 jumps or something. And I was like, okay, all right, he does the dab. I was just questioning whether it was an official dab because it didn't look like a dab. And then someone tweeted me and copied Matt in, and I said, no, I said, I want to get a young person that knows about this stuff to confirm whether it's a dab or not someone in their mid-30s trying to pretend to be young, aka Matthew Murray. And he was going, no, I know what did you say? I know what culture
I
is.
just said it's basically part of popular culture now. It's not like a 16-year-old thing.
Yeah, I know, but you don't really know about all that shit, do you? You're too old. So read this email out. I'm interested to hear you read it.
Hope James is back this week. He was sorely missed last week. Whatever. He says he's a teacher. I absolutely love my job. Every day I get to work with awesome kids from 11 to 16 years old, and it's the most fun, rewarding job in the world. Friday this week, I discussed a very serious topic with a couple of classes. On the board, I showed a picture of Donkey Kong's celebration. In the interest of scientific fairness, we looked at other images to study the post from different angles. The results from these younger, hip kids, he says in inverted commas, was that no, it's not actually a dab. They say his head should be under his arm more, whereas his fist on his head makes it unlikely that this is, in fact, a dab. I suppose there's a possibility that Nintendo couldn't do the exhaustive research I have and simply got the details wrong, but as of now, the case is closed. Well, Adam, it's not closed, because I'm fairly sure it is a dab.
Right, who are you going to trust? The people that invented it, aka children, or a 5-year-old man?
34.
34-year-old man.
Everyone's reported that he did a dab in the Wii U version. There's loads of news stories, loads of YouTube videos. Why would he suddenly not be doing it now? What's hilarious is
because it's a different pose. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if a young person turns around and goes, "No, that is officially a dab," I would accept it.
It just feels weird. You know,
why?
We are old men. Like,
do you not realise that yet, Matt? Have you not worked out that you're fucking old now, and that you don't get to decide what's popular culture and what's not? The kids do, and you look at it
kids?
and you go,
Dave, we're only in our 30s. We're not dead yet.
we're both dads. We're practically dead.
On the inside, sure, but
you sit there, you look at what these kids are doing, and you sort of just roll your eyes and tut a bit, and then carry on with your life. That's what you're supposed to do.
No.
I guarantee Matt's got a fidget spinner. I can almost guarantee he's got one.
Dave,
and he's going, I'm still young.
You're the one who said, "Oh, I really want to get one of those fidget spinners," and I was like,
"No, I said fidget cube. I want a fidget cube.
Yeah.
They're for the more boring people. They're not accepted by the kids."
What is a fidget spinner?
Here he is.
What? You're fucking kidding. I mean, I love you, James. You're acting your age, but still, I'm quite surprised because they were on fucking BBC News the other day, and I thought you'd be all over that shit. They're just these things that you spin in your fingers, and kids love them. It's the same thing. I mean, these things crop up all the time, don't they? Loom bands and pogs and stickers.
You're too old to know about that stuff, Dave.
Oh, no, wait a minute, yeah, because the fidget spinners have been banned at my daughter's school. I remember now.
Okay.
They're banned at all schools.
Okay,
Pogs are banned at schools.
Let's get on with this.
Loom bands are banned at schools. Everything's banned
British
at schools.
Bulldogs
Schools are
banned
shit.
at schools. Right, let's move on. I think it's a dab. Everyone else can fuck off. John Denton says Donkey Kong does dab. It's only only on a 360 spin. He also does a Hulk Hogan on normal boost jumps.
So the Hulk Hogan's the one that I'm thinking of. I see him spin, but I couldn't get a photo of it. So maybe there's further detective work required on this one.
He does a dab. Let's move on. Adam late to the party 82. For fuck's sake, the shit food banter has spread from Midnight Resistance to the computer game pod. Goddamn Captain Toss.
Sean, have you noticed that when Matt is losing an argument, he just goes, "Let's move on." now let's move on.
The funny thing was, Dave, like you said, "Oh, it's not a dab," and then you tweeted a picture of like the Paul Pogba doing the dab. It looks exactly the fucking same. So
it doesn't. Look at it again.
It basically does.
Maybe your eyes are getting too fuzzy in your old age, Matt.
Get them cataracts sorted, mate.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that when I want to move on this show, it's because the conversation's getting boring and we need to move on. Matt, he's just, I'm losing, but let's go.
You must be saying something else. It's clearly close enough to a dab for them to. It's a dab.
Oh, who cares? Can we just? Yeah. Can we move on?
James. Well, sorry, you don't get to make that call. You don't care about anything. Do you know what I mean?
I don't even know what a fidget spinner was.
Exactly, what a loser.
Anyway.
What a square.
A loser for not knowing what a kid's toy is.
James, we're doing a podcast around kids' toys.
Yes. James, haven't you got about 40 amiibo?
They're not mine, they're my daughter's.
Oh, whatever.
Bollocks, you brought them to my house to show me.
Within like a pristine case.
No.
Touch from David.
Actually, Princess Peach got broken this week.
Did she?
Yeah. Why were you so wrong with it? What were you doing with it, James?
Got trodden on.
The thing was, Sean, is that we've said this on the show before. James got his amiibo out in front of my son.
Yeah.
One of them was Mario, and James didn't have the heart to say that he couldn't touch it. But when Harry was holding it, he was standing about half a foot away, just staring at him, and just okay, that's enough now.
Harry, you've had
you say that now, but like Mario doesn't even have his hands anymore now. Like my son ripped them off. It's like they're all in pieces.
I do not want to know what you get up to with your amiibo, James. Go on then, Matt.
That's it for follow-up. If you want to tweet us, it's at ComputerGamePod, or you can email follow-up to thecomputergameshow@gmail.com.
And thanks, Adam, for letting us know what the Ute have to say. Sean, what we got in the news, mate?
Destiny 2 gameplay reveal and some other shit. It's a computer game that's coming out, and it's got guns in it.
Don't know anything about it. I haven't looked at anything.
So, obviously, from the previous trailers, it's about all the I can't remember the fucking names, the big lads come to Earth.
Comments.
The big lads come to Earth, and they're taking over, and they destroy the city, and they kick you out. And you've lost connection to the light, Dave. You've lost your connection to the light. And it's going to be...
So you have to start again, do you?
Yeah,
from zero.
That's how they're resetting it. And they're like, there's a bit where... because you've lost your connection to the light.
You're being a dickhead now, aren't you? You're being a dickhead, and I think you're being a dickhead because you love a bit of Destiny.
I'm well up for this. It's just quite funny the way they were like, and it's like really bad because when you lose your connection to the light, it's like you can barely even walk. It's like that will be a fucking 10-second bit in a mission that you'll never replay. I don't care.
Yeah, it's true. I wish they did go if they come out and just said, Hi, yeah, so we were thinking about ways of resetting you from zero, and how about you lose connection to the light? To the
Thinking this will work. Yeah.
Whatever.
No,
now,
they
onto the game.
showed a bit of like what I assume is the opening mission where the tower's getting attacked, and I thought it looked fucking brilliant. I assume you watched this as well, Matt.
Oh, of course, yeah. I thought it looked great. I like the fact they're sort of starting again because it feels like they sort of have to. Yeah, and this first mission, it looked really good.
Yeah. It was basically, like when the Taken King came out and there was that first mission that was like, oh fuck, this is actually a bit cinematic. This is cool.
Yeah, and all they did was have like one of the Cabal sort of crawl towards you on the floor. That was enough for us to go, oh, this is different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is that, but much better, basically.
Cool.
And you're like running about with characters that you've like NPCs that you see stood around in the tower and stuff. They're all running about and fighting and shouting at each other and stuff, and it looked proper good. Whether that carries through to like all the story missions, or if that's just the opening one and the rest is the usual shit, who knows? So they've introduced, there's some new subclasses. It's a bit weird. Is
it still the three main classes?
So it's still the three main classes, but each one gets a new subclass, but it replaces an old one.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so two of the old ones are still there.
Do we know what the details are?
Yeah, so the Hunter, instead of the arc one, the electricity one, which gave you stealth and the arc blade and stuff, that's now been replaced with this one where you get this like electric staff that you can whiz around battering people with, which kind of seems...
that sounds nerdy.
Yeah, it seems a lot like the arc blade power up, to be honest, but I'm keen to find out more about it.
Which one's the arc blade one? Is that the with the bow and arrow one?
No, that's the electricity lad with the... So when you do your super, you have the little electric dagger and you just zip around hitting people, which basically the new one seems to be...
Dance blade or whatever it's called.
Is that what it was called?
That blade dance?
Blade dancer, yeah. So,
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I didn't pay much attention to the others because I'm a hunter. So, but it looks like the Titan get a new class where they have like a little shield, but they can bash people around with it. And the Warlock gets one where they have a big sword made of fire, and they can.
The thing with the Titan is that there's no more bubble shields, right?
Yeah, which is
that
weird.
Confirmed.
Because it replaces the Void class, which is your bubble shield one. So no one really knows quite how that's gonna work. But it'll be interesting. See, that's right. Sorry. Yes, we do. Each class now gets like a new, like base ability that you always have. So the Hunter now gets like a dodge roll. I forget what Warlock gets. They get like a heal ability or something, and Titans can now always put like a little shield down. So that's interesting. And basically, yeah, I mean, like to look at, didn't look any better, but then the original Destiny looks great.
It didn't look drastically different. Not that I was expecting it. And maybe, in the flesh it will be. Because one thing is that they confirm console versions are only 30 frames a second. PC will be 60 frames.
I sort of knew they'd do that because Bungie have always blocked at 30 for whatever reason.
But even like PS4 Pro one will also be 30 frames. It will be 4K, but it will also be 30, which is a bit annoying, but there you go.
Yeah. New locations look pretty amazing. They're all, so there's the European Dead Zone, which we saw a bit of in multiplayer maps in the first Destiny. That's now like your main area. Apparently it's fucking massive. It's like twice the size of any of the areas from Destiny 1. That looks cool. And then they're all like, other than that, they're all like weird moons of other planets. So you've got Titan and Nessus. I can't even remember what that's a moon of, but that's got all weird, nice trees and stuff on it. And yeah, new areas look really cool, I thought.
Yeah. So the planets look much more varied. There's one that, as Sean was saying, with the trees, it's got like red foliage and whatnot, and it feels like you're running around a forest. So yeah, the environments, at least on initial view, look much more varied. It felt like there were more planets, at least initially, than there was previously, which is cool. One of the best things is that you don't have to go to orbit to switch planet. You can just change it from a menu.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
Surprising how much of a big deal that will be once we're like in the end game. Because I mean, I didn't really mind popping in and out of orbit, but then all of a sudden it was, when we were doing endgame stuff, it was kind of like, oh my god, we've got to go back to orbit again. Like, yeah, that was a bit of a pain in the arse.
Yeah. So they've added the main thing. I'll say the main thing. It's probably the most interesting addition. So they've added clans and they've added what they call guided games. So clans, pretty self-explanatory. You make a clan, you know, do a little logo for it and a name and some text that sort of describes it. The guided games things is basically. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Destiny LFG, which was this kind
of course,
this like fan-made website where it was like you could find other people, like, you know, so you'd go on it and people would be like, well, we need someone to do a raid, and you could, you know, it would allow you to sort of join them. So that's now fully integrated in the game, and this is what they call this guided games thing. So basically, you can go on it, you'd be like, right, I'm on my own, but I want to do a strike or a raid or whatever. You can find other people who are trying to do the same thing, but they're missing one or two people. And the idea is that you can look at their sort of clan description, and if they look like a load of illiterate fucking bellends, then probably give them a swerve. But if they seem okay, then, you know, you'll get some idea whether or not you're going to get on with them. Not that being illiterate means you can't be a nice person. Should throw that in. And it just all seems really cool. Like, I don't think, like, I know most of us are, you know, we've got a group to play with, but there have definitely been instances where we've had to bin something off because we were missing one or two people.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So if it's four of us, and then we get another two randoms in to do a raid, and I think that'd be cool.
Then fine. And then, you know, they were saying on stage that, like, basically it was only something like 50% of all Destiny players ever even attempted a raid, which is shit.
That's quite, see, that seems quite high to me.
Do you reckon?
50%. Well, yeah. I mean, what you had to go to get to a point where you were actually able to do a raid, that seems quite high.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. But I mean. The thing is, with Destiny, and there's going to be a lot of people listening now, if they haven't already, fast forward, that aren't into Destiny. Trying to explain this stuff to them is quite hard to do, because it all sounds like, you know, not really that important. And even to me now, nothing that you're saying is really truly getting me excited. Mm-hmm. What is getting me excited is the fact that, you know, it's a whole new Destiny, and the way I hit that game after Taken King come out. I mean, I enjoyed it anyway, but when the Taken King come out, it just went next level for me.
Yeah.
I'm finding it a little bit daunting to think that I might be back in that zone again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But also at the same time, remembering all the firefights we had, it was just some of the battles we had on that game are just outstanding. And we've said it time and time again, that first raid we did was probably one of the best gaming experiences of my life. Like the excitement of working through the day to go back to where we were the night before and get a little bit further, trying to work out all the puzzles and stuff. It was just, that was probably when I was deepest into it. Maybe a little bit later than that, when I was really trying to get all the exotics and stuff. And then remembering the whole other side of it, when I got completely addicted to the PvP stuff later on down the line. It's exciting, but I don't know if you guys are feeling the same. I'm a little bit kind of not wary of it, but a little bit, I don't know, I've been a little bit intimidated by it, I guess, because I'm just kind of like, fuck me, I put a lot of hours into that first game.
Because I've had games where I've absolutely loved the first one and I played for tons and tons of hours, and then when the sequel comes out, I just don't play it for whatever reason. And I hope this isn't the case with this. I hope it gets me as bad as the first one did, just because it was so good. But I mean, obviously a lot of us have dropped off Destiny, but haven't bothered recently. And one would assume they're still doing events, they're still got like that same gameplay, but just none of us have been bothered to play it. So I hope this is enough to drag everyone back in. I mean, I will say,
I think it will be.
Yeah. I mean, it looked great, but I wasn't blown away. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know what they could have ever shown to blow me away in all honesty. Loads of things, I feel like they are really great quality of life improvements.
Yeah.
Loads of things that can make things a lot easier, but and I didn't really have any preconceptions about what they could potentially show that would totally change it and make me think, oh my god, this is the, you know, I'm so incredibly excited for this game. They didn't show anything like that. I mean, yeah, it's more Destiny, which is great, and I'm definitely interested, and I'm obviously definitely going to play it, but I wasn't sat there with with my mind blown about what the sequel could be.
It's weird because the first one, when Taken King came out and it really took off, it was like it became such a long-term thing for all of us, I think. And there's no way that a single reveal event or some gameplay previews are ever going to explain oh yeah, we played the new Strike, it was pretty good. It's like, yeah, but can I do it 30 times over and still enjoy it?
Almost definitely you can. What I'm saying, what I'll say to you, Matt, is that the reason why you're not totally pumped for it after seeing stuff for it this week, I assume, is that the stuff you loved about Destiny, you can't do in a presentation.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, here's this secret, that you suddenly discover, or that, you can't describe the way that you build up your character and you improve every time and, all that stuff. You can't put that in a presentation. You certainly can't talk about the end game in a presentation like that. So you've just got to have faith, I think. And I genuinely have a lot of faith that Bungie can pull this off, because I think they did learn a hell of a lot from Taken King. They certainly must have learned how to deal with the open world side of the game. I mean, you look at the Dreadnought compared to the other areas in that game, and it was just so above what the other areas were in terms of secrets and things to do in it. And then, we're all very aware that they've been working on this game for a long time, because the content that come out after Taken King wasn't anywhere near up to par.
Yeah.
But if that means that we're getting a Destiny 2 on the level of Taken King, then I've got nothing to worry about.
I think it says a lot that Luke Smith is the game director now, and he obviously directed to Taken King.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who the previous person was who worked on it, but it feels clear that Taken King was so good and changed a lot of things, and now that's why Luke's sorting out the second one. So I'm definitely pumped for that. Actually, just going on secrets, actually, Dave, some other things they mentioned, which I think are pretty cool, are there's this thing called adventures, where other characters will send you on these little missions and they have new mechanics or new discoveries. But there's other things called lost sectors, where they're basically hidden dungeons with a boss and bonus loot. A lot of people are comparing these to things that you did in Diablo or maybe also WoW. But I mean, two games which I didn't play, but I like the idea that you can just go around the map, and the map's much more detailed down. The map tells you when there's going to be a public event. You don't have to go to websites to work out when the next public event is. You can see everything. The map is really, really detailed this time, which is really good. But
yeah, they've just put the public event timer in the game, haven't they?
yeah, which is handy, because the amount of times I remember playing that game with a laptop in front of me and saying, okay, everyone needs to go to Mars now because there's going to be a public event, this public event here, and go to Venus there. So yeah, it's good that that's now just brought into the game. But these lost sector things where there's like hidden dungeons, that's sort of stuff which I think I even mentioned even about a game last week, just exploring and finding some cool secret mission, and the fact that these are
and they had that
excites me quite a lot, actually.
They had that in Taken King, didn't they? There was strikes where if you did certain things at certain times, a door would open and it would lead off to a different ending to that strike. I want to see as much of that in this new game as possible. But I think you're not going to get anything from these sort of previews and what they say at E3. That's not going to give you what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You've just got to have faith that Bungie have learnt their lessons and that they're bringing out a game filled with this shit. The worrying thing, of course, is that this game's going to get reviewed. And if you remember when Destiny came out and all of the content, no one was able to review it before it went live. So people were getting it the day it launched. So I'm a little bit worried about reviews being rushed to press and not really expressing that side of the game, which is, let's face it, where 90% of your time will be, is in the end game stuff. I'm just gonna go for it, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and it's another Destiny expansion. If you think of it just like that, then it'll be a really fucking good expansion. I'm excited.
It's interesting as well, like the clans and guided games, and like you say, the public event timer on the map and stuff. It's weirdly similar to what World of Warcraft did in its early days, in that they put it out and it was kind of shit to begin with. but they allowed the community to modify the interface and stuff, and the community built their own tools. And then when Blizzard saw like which ones were getting picked up and used a lot, they went, right, okay, we'll incorporate that, and they just started nicking them and building them into the game. And that seems to be kind of what Bungie are doing with this, and fucking worked for World of Warcraft. So
I assume you're going PS4 with it, Sean. You wouldn't go PC.
no,
would you?
I probably wasn't going to anyway. But they have now confirmed that the PC version is coming a little bit later.
Oh, they've confirmed that.
Yeah. So
Oh right. Okay.
so F that. Basically,
Yep.
they've also
Yep.
confirmed that the PC version is going to be coming out on Battle.net, which is Blizzard's platform. Which I mean,
I saw everyone going nuts for that, saying, this legitimizes
yeah.
Destiny on the PC. What does that? Why is that a big
I
deal?
don't know, man. I mean, it's really to me as a sort of relatively casual PC guy. Like everything I do is on Steam. Like I have Battle.net for Hearthstone and nothing else. But then you forget how fucking huge Overwatch is on PC. And Diablo and World of Warcraft, and yeah, like it has got like basically just a few of the very biggest games on PC. So yeah, I guess that's a fine place for it to live. It's just funny because you forget that Activision and Blizzard did like merge. You know, they seem to have made a pretty good job of like keeping their identities pretty much separate, and then this happens. It's like, oh yeah, they're the same company. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's how well they've kept it.
Just before anyone complains, there are actually only 4 planets in Destiny 2. I know earlier I said they thought there's lots more, but there are just 4, just like the original.
One of those is Earth, but it's a different bit of Earth.
One other thing I haven't
like-
mentioned actually, Dave, is that all multiplayer games are now getting reduced down to 8 players, 4 on 4, not... I think previously they were up to 12,
Oh, I missed
6 on
that.
6. Yeah.
yeah, I'd heard that. Yeah,
I think I can live with that.
doesn't
I'm going to
bother me.
assume there's still like general sort of general deathmatch, which is up to 12 players.
Yeah.
I would assume that's that. I'm going to assume that they're not going to get rid of that. But yeah, in other Crucible game types where it's teams, it's 4 on 4, which is weird. But
That is weird,
Yeah.
just because it was always useful. Like if you had, if you had 2 mates on, and then a fourth player, including you, showed up. Then you just be like, right, well, we can't do any campaign stuff, so let's hit the Crucible instead. But then if you've got 5 or 6 of you,
Oh, mate, yeah, what a weird argument. You could say that with any number.
yeah, I suppose.
You're just saying numbers. What if there's 8 of you? Fuck,
I haven't got
there's
that
9
many
of us
friends,
now.
Dave. That's not a problem
Of
for me.
course I fucking haven't. Right, okay, let's move on.
Right, so
That's
there
enough
was
best.
another Nintendo Direct that did a load of stuff about ARMS. That looked really good. There's some weird modes in it and stuff. But it was basically more sort of diving into the technicalities, so I wasn't going to really mention it as a news post. What I was going to mention... So they're doing a special edition Nintendo Switch to release with Splatoon 2, which has neon green and neon pink Joy-Cons.
God, yeah, it looks rough.
And there is also a Pro Controller with the same colours on it. That has sold out, that pack. But instead, guys, if you want to cheer yourselves up, you can go on the Japanese Nintendo store and you can buy just the cardboard box for £3.75.
day one,
Excellent.
I'm pre-ordering.
Like,
You need
what
to do that
what-
and then get it on eBay. You could make a fortune.
Pretend it's yeah. 540 yen. You can have the special edition Splatoon 2 Switch bundle cardboard box. So yeah, get that pre-ordered.
I must say that Pro Controller with the fluorescent, what do you call those bits? The fluorescent
Little
sort of handles,
arms,
and
legs,
arms.
yeah, the
limbs.
It looks disgusting. It looks
Yeah, it
horrendous.
does.
Do
It
you
looks
think?
terrible. Yeah.
I'd be alright with it, to be honest.
I'm not on board with that. I'll tell you what, I'm not convinced by ARMS yet. Still not convinced.
I'm super interested, just because a lot of people are hyped, like really hyped for it.
Well, it's
It
really
just- I mean-
interesting to me, right? In that the more they've explained the technicalities of it, the more the fighting game community's got involved, and the more it puts me off a little bit. Because there are plenty of very good fighting games that already exist.
What are you saying?
And I can't be arsed playing them because I hate that. I don't hate it, but I don't have time for that whole like hyper competitive frame counting shit, right? And
that's the problem, innit?
And if that's where ARMS is going, then good luck to it. But I don't know if it's for me.
So that's the problem, because I used to like really enjoy playing stuff like Street Fighter, and then I heard, but then I'd never play it online or anything like that because it's just horrible. It's just not fun, like playing it like that. I don't know.
The interesting thing about the control system is weird because obviously one of the early news stories is that you don't have to play it with motion controls, and you can just play it to handheld mode and whatnot. But they've also said this week, as a result of this direct, that actually you're not going to be able to do all the moves, or not going to be able to finesse the moves. You're not going to be able to
I wondered this, because they said
that you won't be able to do when you just say got it in a Pro Controller. You have to sort of be able to twist your hands for certain elements, certain finesses of those moves.
Yeah, because when they said you can just play it with buttons, I was like, well, hang on, isn't it all about, like, yes, you can punch forwards and it will always auto aim at the other character, but it's all about not necessarily aiming straight for them and like swinging punches around at different angles and stuff, which is cool. But feels like.
But should have put some GameCube triggers on it.
Yeah,
should have put some GameCube triggers on it, and none of that would be a problem.
I read the preview on Eurogamer, and it seemed really positive. Loads of people on Gaffer, getting really excited about it. I'm not really into fighting games, but I'm certainly interested to see what it's about.
Is it like purely pretty much multiplayer focused? Like, there's not like a big campaign or anything, is there either?
I'm not sure there's a campaign. I know there's lots of training mini games and lots of things you can do on your own. It's not just I think
there's shit tons of stuff to unlock as well. There's all different gear and stuff.
It's almost overwhelming. They kept saying, and this you can do this, you can do this, and there's like a volleyball mode. There's all sorts of mini games. That was one of the things they
were showing, like how there's like thousands of different combinations.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for me, I looked at that and just thought, I can't be arsed with all that.
You be negative, James. I don't believe it.
What was cool?
Looks overwhelming.
They showed that you can basically you can tell it if you want a multiplayer match, it'll just go right, cool. We'll look for one. Do whatever you want in the meantime, so you can then just have a bodge on like a single player match or one of the mini games or whatever while it finds you a match. That was cool.
I imagine being told, hey, look, you can customize it. Look at the different options that you've got in this game. There's loads of options. Looking at that and going, oh, God.
No, it's just when there's like an overwhelming amount of stuff to do and you're just like, oh, that's too much. I can't be bothered.
Fucking terrible. Yeah, absolutely scumbag.
Arms does have a single-player mode. It's called Grand Prix, where you basically fight 10 opponents. So I think there will be single-player elements, but obviously it's very much geared towards multiplayer.
It doesn't have a story.
No,
she's well important.
That's a shame. Okay, cool. Next news item.
Another Life is Strange is in the works.
Yes,
They're doing a new one. They've basically said nothing other than that. It's the same team doing a new one, and that I'm up for it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for that.
Sean, call it now. Same characters or new set?
Oh, I hope it's new. I don't think it'll work with the same ones. Yeah.
We said the same for Walking Dead Season 1 and Walking Dead Season 2 is pretty good as well.
It's got to be new, though, isn't it? Because it's got to be new because what happened at the end of that game, like, how would you be able to sort of, branch that off? Because it's pretty conclusive, like, what happens.
Yeah, it's a very binary decision at the end as well.
Yeah, but, I mean, it could still follow, I mean, essentially, probably spoil it now a little bit, can't I? The main character doesn't die, so you could continue her story.
Yeah, I guess.
Or you could look at it. Could be set in Arcadia Bay, regardless of the character. Like, I don't know.
What do you reckon? Set it. You play as someone else, but in the same time period or something.
Or it could be the same characters, different time period, like way earlier, prequel, not the sequel. Who knows?
Oh God, it's going to be really interesting to see how they approach that because there's, I mean, does the person have powers at all? Do they have the same powers? Do they have different powers? Is it set in the same place? Is it set with the same characters? That's a very, very difficult one to approach.
Yeah.
And you're right, that series felt so unique. It really did. It felt really standout and unique. And the feeling of that game, I don't know how they can either continue that or emulate it. So maybe they do need to chuck everything in the bin and start again.
Because even, do they stick with the whole photography motif? Because that was so integral to it. But it was so integral to Max as well. Like, it wasn't just...
Exactly.
Yeah,
Everything that made
So-
Life is Strange so good was so integral to the characters and the story, and like, so if you can't do that again, so then what are you left with?
I hope it's a new character, and this time they're a DJ. And,
I'll play that.
yeah.
I'll play that.
Um,
It'll be a podcaster, guaranteed. You heard it here first. There'll be a podcaster, and they'll think, "Oh, we'll get all the podcasters to talk about it because they're important."
Just before we get to the next news story,
References.
one other thing from the Arms director was they showed off
for fuck,
they
we're
showed
going
off the
back.
Splatoon single player campaign trailer, and that looked fantastic. That looked
yeah,
really,
I mean,
really good.
the campaign in Splatoon 1 was fucking excellent, and not enough
Yeah, it
people
was good.
even played it. Like, most people just sort of treated it as chiefly a multiplayer thing. But yeah, the campaign was wicked.
And there's also a horde mode, isn't there, in Splatoon 2?
Yes, which I'm well up for.
Yeah.
Right, last bit of news. Red Dead Redemption 2 has been knocked back to spring 2018. I actually forgot that it was meant to be out sooner than that. I think, to me, it's always just been a speck on the horizon. I've never really... I don't know.
Well, it's funny. We were talking about in our group. We were talking about how good this year's been and how it looks to continue to be that good. And someone listed a whole bunch of games that were coming out this year, still to come out. And I was like, "Fuck, that is good." And don't forget Red Dead. And Matt was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's next year." And lo and behold, today they announced it's next year.
What's his source?
It's classic Rockstar. it will come out in May, like all the other GTAs. And
Yeah.
Can't get angry with it when they bring their games out. They're always bangers.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to wait for it to be ready. To be honest,
yeah, I
with
mean,
you.
2017 is an incredible year. I'm happy to have an incredible game move to 2018.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, as well. Looking at
also-
these screenshots, this could be the game that makes me get a PS4 Pro.
Really?
Like, it
Well, I
looks
was about
fucking
to say,
ridiculous.
I mean, this is the first game that they've began developing on these new systems, isn't it? So, and they always seem to get an incredible amount out of the hardware. They've got the money to do that, and I can't wait to see how this game looks because I think it's going to blow our balls off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's still,
they have released new screenshots, as Sean just mentioned, to coincide with this delay. And yeah, it looks good. It looks so good.
Yeah.
It's so weird when you remember how much money Rockstar have. Like, in previous episodes, we'd sort of mentioned, like the charts each week and like, oh yeah, such and such has sold. And it's like, oh, and there's GTA 5 still at number 3.
Yeah,
Like,
and then that's not even the only source of income.
Yeah.
It's probably the lowest source of income because people are still ploughing things into hats in their GTA Online.
Yeah.
It's a beast. They are extremely rich developers, so I can't wait to see what they.
You're right. I was just
they
looking at
got
these
coming out.
screenshots. These are incredible.
Yeah,
It really looks really good. It's a shame. Maybe it's
It's a shame that
Like, what's a shame?
No,
Why
right,
is it a shame?
It's so good. It's that a shame, James?
No, it's a shame that it's not coming out yet. It's
Okay.
it's yeah.
It'll be worth the wait.
It looks brilliant. I know your exact quote after that was, "It's a shame." I mean, ugh.
Yes, I hate all games, David. It's if
I
something
think
looks good,
we're
it makes me hate it.
We're slowly finding that out, James.
It's not
We're
true
slowly working
at all.
that out.
I like Type Rider.
Right.
That was great. It's
We'll get onto that.
Boring as shit. Oh shit, let's start with that then. That's a good segue, right? What have we been playing? Now, we mentioned last week that both Matt and Sean had been playing Type Rider and they were holding their opinions back for today.
Don't let me
So
down.
should we go straight
Sean,
there?
don't let me down, please.
Sean, you start.
Well, if you'll allow me to just park myself on this fence here. Right, so I do think the whole,
For fuck.
the typography thing, I did find that really interesting.
No, you didn't.
No, I did. I really
Fuck
liked
off.
it. However, Dave,
Bollocks.
I do
Go on.
think the way it's implemented in the game is a little bit clumsy, and you do spend more time reading than you do actually playing the fucking thing.
Yeah, I thought that. They could have implemented it within the gameplay, not just, okay, you've learned about this, now read this PDF on screen, which is basically what it is. I would have, if that's in the background, it could have been done much more sort of abstract, much more artistically. And I mean, I thought it was also interesting, but it does feel a bit like, a bit laborious.
What did you think was interesting?
Oh, don't start this, David. This is
No,
ridiculous.
come on, no,
You're
no,
like,
no, right, 'cause I'll tell you exactly
what do you think
what's-
is interesting about learning about something? It's a ridiculous question.
I tell you exactly why I'm asking that, because I know Sean and Matt, and I know that they're just pretending to be interested to try and sound intelligent.
Right.
Oh,
I am intelligent. I like font.
It's a typeface, actually, Dave. It's a typeface.
No, I just found it really interesting when you talks about. It's just really fascinating the way that not only the sort of the societal but the technological reasons for written language being controlled the way it has, and how that's affected
boring
society. And when you consider, like, especially viewed through, like, you know, like currently we've got an election on, and there's all these accusations that, you know, information and communication is now being manipulated to the extent that people are being so hugely misled. But then it's like, well, hang on a minute, like 1,000 years ago, it was only the church that could even write stuff. Yeah. No one else even had that ability, and it's just like, I don't know. I say 1,000 years ago, that's probably wrong, and I've just embarrassed myself and revealed that I wasn't really paying attention. It was
only the church.
Check up your PDF. You know how Matt was saying, it feels like it's a PDF, just slung at you. James last week said, they were beautifully rendered in these binded books at the start.
I know. I thought that bit was all like Encyclopedia Britannica, it's like a 3D rendered book opening up.
I thought it looked nice.
What I said. It looked nice.
I thought the gameplay was really fun. So you're these two. Are you ellipses? I guess, James.
No, you're a colon.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, anyway, of course, yeah. But anyway,
you manipulate
colon. Boys, don't fall out over this.
You know what, James? You're a fucking colon. So you're these two circles. Now, it was satisfying to bounce around the environment as them two. I thought that was fun.
Was it though, Matt? Honestly,
I thought it was
satisfying.
It's a perfectly enjoyable platformer, and the subject matter is really interesting. It's just the combination of the two I felt was a bit clumsy. That's all.
Didn't you find that the obstacles were just like? They didn't even seem that. I mean, James said it himself. He said that, it was a very easy game. It wasn't too taxing. Yeah. And I just found that like, oh man, do something with me then. Like, I don't know.
You're like, where's the guns? Where's the guns?
Oh, shut up.
Sound like me now.
What's that? You against Shooty Bang Bangs, James? Put James on the Shooty Bang Bang list, Matt.
Okay,
he's on the Shooty Bang Bang list now.
Is that a list of people you are going to Shooty Bang Bang?
The list of people who are fucking boring pricks who call shooting games Shooty Bang Bang. At the moment, there's two names on it. There's Sean Bell and James Farley on that fucking list. Don't play it. Has anyone got anything else to say about this game?
I ain't saying anything about it because it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, James, what else have you been playing?
I played 2 games mostly this week. I played Rise of the Tomb Raider. Finally.
That's a good game. Now we're talking. It's got guns in it, innit? Right?
And
it's got guns. Yeah.
No, Sean, not on this one. They've smartened it up. Don't go to that level, mate. Fucking disgrace. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go in massive depth about this because obviously it's been out quite a long time. But I know because I went straight into this after Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
And although this doesn't feel quite as fun as that does, if you see what I mean. It's like tone because it's really serious, this game, like by comparison to like Uncharted.
Oh yeah, it's a lot less playful. I mean, the Tomb Raider reboot as well was like just a woman going through hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a nightmare. But no,
I did.
Uncharted.
I had that same thing again with this. Like you start to cringe with the screams and everything that goes on. It's just like,
it gets a bit much. They definitely toned it down in this one over the first one, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was.
If you remember the first one with the spikes through the heads and swimming through the river of skulls and stuff like that, it was like a bit much. This one they turned it down a little bit.
The combat though is like so much better than like Uncharted, like so much better. Yeah. It's like unbelievably better. Like, to the fact where, I actually enjoy encounters, because you're just, like, thinking... Because you can do it in so much more sort of, like, creative way of, like, rather than, there's lots of waist-high level things, I'm just going to hide behind them and shoot. It's, that's certainly not better. And also, traversal, I find more fun than in Uncharted as well. Like, as in, the first 3, it's so much better. And it looks amazing. It's, it still looks fantastic. But then you said that you think Uncharted 4 is... You think I'd change my mind if I played that?
Probably. I don't think you'd change your mind. I think it's still a stunning looking game, but Uncharted 4 was like, come out and it was like, whoa, no, actually this is incredible, like proper next level looking.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean the story's better in Uncharted 4, but the
combat is still Uncharted combat.
It is, and I mean
it does have some new additions. which is
it
nice.
does, and it does a lot to try and get you to be a little bit more playful with the combat, like the swinging and stuff like that. If you're a little bit more adventurous with that stuff, you can really create some good moments. However, the Tomb Raider just nails that third person combat. It's so good with it. That whole cover mechanic where you're not actually snapping into cover, you're just moving up close to it and stuff. It felt so natural in the Tomb Raider game.
Yeah. What I love about Tomb Raider games is that if you find a weapon you love, you can just keep with that for the rest of the game. It's not like, okay, you've got the pistol, then the machine gun, then this. Like I played loads of that game with just the bow, just because the bow was so satisfying. It's so fun to fire, and obviously you can upgrade those. So I love the fact you don't have to just keep upgrading to get bigger and bigger weapons. You can just find one you like, upgrade it, and then play the rest of the game with that weapon.
I mean, I've also really enjoyed just like the hand-to-hand combat. I've been using that all the time. Like sneaking up on people. And doing that, I found that
the
really
stealth
effective.
stuff's pretty good. I didn't really like it when you were suddenly surrounded by people and you had to use that stuff, and it was like, oh shit, I don't really know what I'm doing. But I didn't really use it that much to sort of get the hang of it. So maybe that was the problem.
Because in Uncharted 3, they did that. Like they introduced that a lot. Like there was a lot of sort of like quick time kind of fighting going on.
That's right. Yeah,
I really didn't enjoy that much. It felt really sort of like clumsy. So the only thing that I do kind of miss about this compared with Uncharted is the sort of travelling to different environments. I mean, is this also similar to the first one, as in just set on one island, or do you get to go other places? Can you remember?
Yeah, I mean, it does. No, you do go about 2/3 into the game, you go somewhere else, but I thought it was varied enough. It was certainly more varied than the first one. But yeah, nowhere near as varied as it is in Uncharted. And if you liked that stuff in Uncharted games, then Uncharted 4 will blow you away, because some of the settings that you go to, it's incredible. I mean, there's a whole level in Scotland that is just like unlike anything you've played in one of these games, because it just feels like some Scottish grassy terrain with little ruins everywhere. It's really clever how it changes that up in Uncharted 4. Mm-hmm. I think they're both two games with standout, because they come out around the same time, and they both had these sort of standout moments and feelings and parts of the game, but neither of them really, both of them had problems. I think the story in Rise of the Tomb Raider is a bit shit, but and the story in Uncharted was incredible. Uncharted 4 was incredible, but it was, in terms of actual gameplay, I far preferred the Tomb Raider games over the Uncharted games, no doubt.
It's just, and also it just feels like so polished as well, like so just well presented. It's I really am enjoying it. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely gonna finish it.
Someone sent me a message on, I think it was on Discord, saying, oh yeah, I've just seen James is playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. Apparently you can get that you could trade that in at CEX for £5 now. And I nearly cried.
It's worth it. It's definitely worth a $5. It's
it's fair to assume that there's going to be a new Tomb Raider announced at E3, right? There's that famous leak on the subway where some guys appearing and saw like a PowerPoint presentation of a new Tomb Raider game. So I'll be interested to see what the third one is.
I'd imagine probably not going to be an Xbox exclusive this time. Like not for a time.
That's a good point. I hope they make a few changes this time. It was good to have more of the same with Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think I need it to do more this time out, And I think is there a longer gap between the first one and the last, like Tomb Raider, the reboot, and Rise of the Tomb Raider? I think there was it would probably be a longer gap. So hopefully that they've introduced some new stuff and they're actually playing with it a little bit more rather than just settling on what they've got. Because I want to see it grow a little bit now. Good game. What else, James?
Okay, so I've been playing Kamiko, which is a Switch game.
What's that?
Well, it's a Switch game, but it's like I think it's an indie game, but it's made by Fly High Works, which is like a Japanese outfit. And I don't know, because Matt, you've spoken about it before.
I spoke that it was out. You played it, didn't you, Sean?
No, I haven't played it. It was just one that I was. We had it. Someone was asking us. There might have been Dave who just said, have any of you actually downloaded stuff from other regions on the Switch? And this was one that was available in the Japanese eShop quite early and had English options. So it was one that a lot of people were picking up. So yeah, we just sort of mentioned it in that context. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been looking for something else to play on Switch until like Splatoon comes out, and this is cheap. I mean, it's only about, I think it's just under £5. And although I don't really like the art style that much, I still thought I'd kind of give it a go. But it really, really reminds me of, Sean, do you know Mage Gauntlet? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
By Rocket Cat.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It was. I really enjoyed it. It came out a couple of years ago, like on iOS and Android, presumably. And it really kind of reminds me of that. It's a very sort of similar kind of style. I mean, what happens is there's 3 characters that you choose from, all of them female. You basically got like the girl with the big sword, one with a bow and arrow, and another with a sword and shield that she sort of throws. And there's only 4 levels though, and the objective in each level is to unlock these 4 gates, so that then you go and face like a boss. To unlock the gates, you just have to solve sort of simple puzzles and sort of fight, sort of monsters as you're sort of going through. But then as you're fighting the monsters, you get like, it sort of builds up like your attack, and then you can do like sort of, super moves and stuff like that. And, I mean, my first run through the game took about an hour and a half. Like, I finished it in about an hour and a half. And then, but the whole point seems to be that then you go back and you play it again with one of the other characters, because each of the characters has like a different kind of form of attack. It does slightly change the way that you play, and which makes it kind of a bit more interesting. But it seems to have been designed for speedrunning. Like, this seems to be the point of it, because, I mean, by the third time, because I finished it 3 times, and like the third time I finished it in under 30 minutes. Like, you could do it, because it's not like a roguelike, like the levels are the same every single time, so you figure out like how to do it like quite quickly, and then you can really run through it like fast. I mean, I don't know, I think it's probably worth the £5 I paid for it, but there's not really much there, and it's one of those games where it feels like there's a lot of potential for this to be sort of expanded and like more levels, that kind of thing. But it's been sort of put out sort of cheaply. But it's quite fun. I mean, I'd pay £5 for it.
Yeah, it looked really nice, but yeah, it didn't do enough for me. But I heard loads of people talking about it in quite glowing terms on Twitter.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's not amazing or anything, but for a £5, it's worth a go. I mean, it does feel a bit like an iOS game or like Android game. It doesn't really feel like a sort of a console like quality game, but it's still it's good for the cash. The soundtrack is really nice as well. It's a good game.
Does it offer any advantages over a Switch then, rather than buying it on like a home console?
Just moving it around, I guess, is the only thing. It's it's just the fact that you can do that. I mean, this is the other thing that I really wish that I had more games for my Switch, because I fucking love that console. Like, the fact that you can do that. Every time I do it, it still feels not like magic, but it still feels fantastic. And I just wish that everything I had was on this machine, because it really is just so much more convenient. I mean, as I said before, I use Remote Play a lot, like with Vita, but it's still not the same, because you've still got to like switch the PS4 on, you've got to connect, there's all that sort of hassle. Whereas this just feels so much more sort of like seamless, and just, there's like no friction there at all. And, I just wish there was more games on there. And I mean, this is why I'm really hoping that FIFA's going to be good. Like, whether that comes out and it's going to be like a good version of it, because that would be brilliant, for me, like, just to be able to pick that up and play it whenever. So
if FIFA is half decent, you would rather buy it on Switch, where it obviously won't look as good as PS4 and Xbox versions. You'd rather buy it on Switch just for the portability aspect, would you?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it would depend though on what modes it's got. Like, if it's got like career mode and all that, like the journey and stuff like that, I probably would be interested on that. I don't really see like the downgrades, like visually, I can't see that it would be like absolutely, sort of huge compared with like PS4 and stuff. I mean, what do you think, Dave? I mean, do you think?
No, I think it'd be very noticeable, but not to the point where you kind of think, oh no, fuck this, there's no way I could play this. Like, it ain't going to look like a 360 game, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to look anywhere near as good, because you forget the amount of stuff that's going on in the background in those games. Yeah. And yeah, I think it'll be missing a lot of that sort of shit.
But if you're playing it on a smaller screen, then that doesn't really matter quite so much. It's not.
No, you're absolutely right, but then you've also got to remember that this is EA doing it, and when it comes to things like this, that they will go very they won't go full in with the development of the Switch version, because they're a business and they don't want to invest too much into it without knowing how much they're going to get back.
But they went went full in with the Wii or Wii U version, didn't they? Where it had its own control system and whatnot.
Well, the
Wii version.
The Wii U version of FIFA was not that great. I mean, it was the last one was FIFA 13. No, because with the Wii version, they did try to make like alternative version of FIFA, didn't they? It was like
yeah. They made it cartoony with motion controls.
And it was crap,
ridiculous.
and no one bought it, and it was like no one cared. And like the Wii U version was just basically a port of the 360 one, from what I remember.
That's the only thing that worries me about the Switch, because I was thinking about it exactly the same way, James. Like, I want as many games out for this as possible because I get more game time on the Switch than any other console. I like using it. I think it's a cracking console. I wonder how long it's going to be before its limitations start to show up and you kind of think, I'd love to play this game on a Switch, but I clearly can't. And with the other consoles getting more and more powerful, with the PS4 Pro, when that comes down in price and people start getting those, and when Scorpio comes out, that is going to put a bigger gap between the Switch and the other consoles.
There is that, but I really think the portability makes a huge difference. Like, for me anyway. I know for other people, I mean, I play, to be honest, the majority of my gaming is done like on portable machines now. I don't really sit down in front of my TV and play games that much anymore. And I don't really care quite so much about like the visual fidelity because of that, because I'm playing them on smaller screens. But I am totally aware that that's just me being weird, because I know that like most people.
No. I mean, I'm pretty much the same. I even when Joe was out like last week, and I come home and I was playing my Switch in handheld mode on the sofa because I had my headphones plugged into it, and it just felt like a better way to play the game I was playing. But I don't think it's much of a like, I'm not sitting here thinking, oh no, the graphics are going to be slightly better on PS4, I want it on that. I'm thinking that devs are going to put out shit versions of their games on Switch because they haven't got the time to downgrade it that much so it runs on that machine, that's the concern. That's what worries me. But we'll see. We'll see. That's not an argument for now, is it? It's for later. Yeah. All right. Okay, is that you done?
Yeah, it's me done. Yeah.
Just cool. I presume you haven't downloaded the Disgaea 5 demo that's out on Switch now.
No,
I've downloaded
really interest me,
but not played it yet.
Yeah, I started playing it this morning. It looked it's pretty different. I thought it'd be like quite a serious JRPG, but actually it's a complete opposite. But,
oh yeah, it's nuts.
Oh yeah, Sean, I was going to ask you, have you played I Am Setsuna?
I have, yeah, played a bit of it, yeah.
Is it good or not?
It is. The battle system just started to do me in a bit. It has that sort of, like, it's a very unapologetically old school JRPG in that there are save points. You have to find save points in it, for one thing. And the battles, it's like you'll be running around and then you'll bump into a fucking rabbit or something, and then it's like whoosh, going into a battle, and that's really tries my patience. Like, I was really hoping that like, if I could get on with it, it was like, fuck, this might be the machine that I can actually play and enjoy JRPGs on. But no, it still tested my patience. I mean, if you're okay with that stuff, it is really wonderful. The battle system is basically straight out of Chrono Trigger. The music's beautiful. And just the idea behind the story is really interesting as well.
See, I'm not okay with random battles.
Yeah. They're not random. Like the enemies are just sort of sauntering about, and then you bump into them or they bump into you, and then the battle starts. But you can't really avoid most of them, I don't think.
Yeah,
plus
like
you sort of
Dragon's Quest.
Yeah, like if you do start avoiding them, then you start thinking, but I'm probably supposed to be leveling up, and I'm going to get to a boss, and I'm not going to be able to do it. And yeah.
I never understand though, like, why people think this is a good game mechanic. I just really don't. Of like just doing the same thing over and over again for like hours. I just don't understand how that's fun.
Yeah, like if those
Destiny
battles
2 come in 2017.
like if those battles felt, interesting and different, and you had to actually make decisions, that impacted anything, then it might be all right. But it's just like, it's some basic enemies. Everyone just attack. Oh, we won. Carry on.
I mean, do you remember, like, before you used to get people that were like, I figured out how to like level up my characters by going to this point, and then I just put a book down on this button, and it just keeps doing it. And you're like, why would you, like, why is that fun?
Yeah, so the game's shit then, isn't it? If that's if that's a better way to enjoy it, is to not fucking play it, then
yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Again, someone did that in Destiny where they put a rubber band around the fire trigger. Turned out, right, okay, so let me get my stuff done. I was playing Future Unfolding on the PS4. That came out on the PS4 this week. It was the game we were talking about a little while ago that I played through and absolutely adored. Gave it a 10. I stand by that. I absolutely adore that game, and going back into it, just, mate, what a feeling that was. It felt completely fresh because, as you know, it's procedurally generated to the point where even on your first playthrough you won't be able to see everything because some of the stuff is just in there and some of it isn't for depending on how the roll of the dice goes. But yeah, the music, the visuals, everything just come back to me, like flooding back to me. And I was streaming it, and within 5 minutes of starting my stream, I just went silent, mouth open, just like gazing at this game again because it's just so good. It's so good. And I think I've learned a lot about how much of my opinions on that game is subjective. There's a lot of people that have tried it and said, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm not feeling it. I don't get it. And I guess when people are saying that, I'm looking at that and going, but that's why I like it so much. That is why I loved it, because everything I did in that game, I had to work out. I had no idea what was going on. And you're sitting there, and the best bits of that game is when you go, oh, right, so that does that, which means I can do this now and get past this. That is what I loved about that game. And to see people not enjoying that sort of really confused me. But I guess that's just, something that people don't like. And that's maybe why people aren't loving it as much as I am. But then, alternatively, I've seen people saying, no, this is fucking fantastic. I love it. I'm loving every second of it. And it's out now, PS4. It was £12 last time I looked. I think that might have been a launch special, though, so you might have missed that. But even if it's 15 quid, you should really try that game.
Yeah, it's an incredible game. I was really hoping it will blow up on PS4. But yeah, people need to try it.
It's been disappointingly quiet. And I find that shocking because I just think for the amount of, I don't know if people aren't reviewing it or what, but for me it is a pure 10. Like I cannot, the way it affected me, like emotionally, and how much I enjoyed doing the puzzles in that game, it blew me away. And for like it not to be reviewed in some places, I'm kind of like, holy shit, man! For me, it's a stone cold classic, and it's just being ignored, and it kills me. So, yeah, if you were one of those people that said to me, "Oh, I'll wait for the PS4 version," fucking buy it, because I'd love to hear what you think of it, especially towards the end. I'd love to know, what you took away from it, because there's still loads that I want to talk about with that game.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to towards the end of the year replaying it, because obviously we go do our Game of the Year stuff, and typically in years past when I thought about Game of the Year, I've just remembered, oh yeah, The Witness was good, etc., etc. But I really feel like I need to replay this game in November, December, so I have a fresh view of that game, and it wasn't just me caught up in the moment, and I can't
wait for you to try it again, because I wonder if you have the same experience as I did, because I started off, the dude was sitting down in the forest, I got up, I started walking around, all those noises happened again, all the little tings and the violins kicking off, and I was just like, whoa, I'm back here again. I am back in this like sort of weird feeling, just in a trance for a little bit, and then turning it off and going, whoa, what the fuck did I just do? Jesus. Mate, that game, too good. I want to hear from more people that love it as much as I do, because I want to talk to them a lot about things that happen, and things that happen in the game. I'll never forget the emails we were sending back and forth while we were playing it, man.
Yeah,
it was,
especially about that, our discussions about the ending.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay, so I've also been playing Thumper, which came out on the Switch this week. Now, Thumper came out last year, right, on PS4?
And PC.
Did it... Sorry?
PC as well.
Did it come out on Xbox?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
So, if you don't remember, Thumper's a rhythm action game where you control a beetle on a Hot Wheels track, and it's I played it a little bit at Matt's. I played it in VR, and I thought, yeah, this is good. Like, I'm enjoying this. But this week, Jesus, is all I've played. It's unsurprisingly right up my street. I mean, we were talking about last week about, could you still bring out rhythm action games for them to be as enjoyable as, say, Wendam was? And the themes, its attitude, the music, everything speaks to me. The visuals, just everything speaks directly to me. And it's exactly, like, I love it. I absolutely adore that game. I love how relentlessly hard it is, because I think that's an important factor with rhythm action games for me. I need to feel that it's going to take me a fair few attempts to get my head around it, because that's one thing you don't hear people talk about with a Wendan a lot. But with a Wendan, I mean, it starts out relatively easy, but that game gets bastard hard, and as you're playing it, you slowly start to feel like a badass. Like you're remembering where those little buttons that you have to press pop up, like before they're even on the screen. So your hand's already moving over to it, and it feels like you're playing something, like an instrument or something while you're playing. I'm getting totally a similar vibe. I'm naturally finding myself, getting into position before things arrive and knowing what's coming. One thing I didn't pick up on when I played round maps, and one of the things I took away with it, that's really good, but the speed of the game makes me worry about you not being able to judge what's coming up next. And that was until I played on the Switch with headphones on for a time and worked out that actually it telegraphs everything that's coming up through sound.
Yeah, it calls it out, doesn't it?
So it's like a hi-hat every time there's a corner. Yeah. So if you're coming up to a corner and it goes, there's two corners coming up, so you better be ready for two corners. Or once you work that stuff out, that's like a key to suddenly getting a little bit better. And I love the concept. I love the execution. I love the music. It's exactly the sort of game that I need right now. And to have it in portable form where I can just sling some headphones in and just get lost in it. I had a few concerns going in, like I was thinking, tiny buttons, analog stick that doesn't have a lot of movement to it. Is this going to affect the game? And it just doesn't. It's fantastic. One thing that does interest me though, one of the things that it's got that it says, is an advantage with playing on Switch is the HD Rumble stuff. HD Rumble is strange. It's very strange because it's obviously affected by how you play the machine. So if you've got it either side of the screen, it feels fine. But then if you've got it in a Joy-Con grip, I'm finding that the effect of HD Rumble is not as big. I think it's because it's like that hollow bit of plastic between the two kind of takes some of the impact of the vibrations, I guess. Yeah,
like if you're attaching something that moves to something that doesn't, then obviously, it's going to affect it. Like when we were playing Tumbleseed, I found when the Joy-Con were actually attached to the Switch, it was like some movements would cause like this really uncomfortable like rattle, like it was properly shaking.
Yeah, I had to turn down the impacts of it on, because Tumbleseed has the option. Like you can have it. You can't do that on Thumper. The other thing, obviously, is when it's in the Joy-Con grip, you're essentially holding onto the bit of hollow plastic behind the Joy-Con itself as well. So that takes some of the impact out of it, which is a shame, because when it is either side of the screen, it feels great. But I have a feeling that if I was playing this with the Joy-Con separately in each hand, I'm going to try that this week, because I think you'll have a completely different experience with it. I think that's probably the ultimate way of feeling HD Rumble.
That's how I've been playing it,
What, Thumper?
Yeah.
Or Tumbleseed?
Thumper,
You've been playing Thumper on Switch?
Yeah.
I've not seen you on the leaderboards. I'd have to check it out.
I literally just started this evening, so... But it's fucking great, isn't it? I already had the PC version, but I figured this was going to be worth having. I was intrigued about the HD Rumble stuff, and just to have it portable is amazing. The HD Rumble stuff's really cool. I was a bit because I saw people getting really excited about it, like as if they thought that it was going to fucking blow their hands off or something. And I was like, well, the HD Rumble's all about subtlety more than impact, but actually it really works, doesn't it? Like, it's one thing, like, you know, the little sort of shocks you get when you're blasting through those little barriers. But it's things like when you do the long corners and it like feels like you're fucking scraping your hand. Like, it's weird. Like it does it on the shorter corners as well. But it's when you do the long ones and it's like, it just feels like your hand's going like against something. It's fucking odd.
Well, the best way to describe it, right, is that you know, with the way the normal rumble works is that you've got these huge bits of metal that spin around on a motor when, you know, the game is wanting to simulate rumble. The problem with that is that the momentum of the motor and the metal means that you can't have sharp stabbing vibration feelings. And so HD rumble is not like this insane step forward for, you know, vibrating controllers, because it isn't. In fact, I felt that the rumble triggers on the Xbox One felt more impactful to how I was playing than I do with HD rumble. However, that short stabbing thing that HD rumble can do is it really does, it's effective, especially when you're touching the button. It feels like a proper reaction to what you're doing, rather than just a motor spinning up and slowing down again.
Yeah, because normally
it feels like a proper like boom.
Yeah, like a normal controller vibration. It's sort of, even if it's supposed to be a short, sharp thing, it's that sort of. Whereas with this, it's like
that's it,
like it's pulsing like so quickly. It's so weird.
Yeah, and to have it, as I say, to have it portable, there's a resolution difference. It's 1080p on your main TV and 720 on the screen. And I was thinking that doesn't sound like it'd be a problem, but actually, if you're playing it on your TV, it is noticeably better looking. Yeah. I don't know if you felt this. Have you played it in hand mode yet?
I haven't yet. No.
Have a look and see if you notice. It looks like there's some sort of filter over the graphic. Like, it feels like there's some sort of film filter over it. But I can't. It just might be me going mental. But yeah, it doesn't look as clear as it does, obviously, on the TV. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it still works perfectly and plays superbly. I love that game. But I can't wait to play more of it. I can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for something to play on the Switch, especially, I mean, James, you've played Thumper though, right?
Yeah, I've got it on PS4, but I've barely touched it actually since that VR weekend. I really need to go back to it.
It's really bloody good.
It's so like playing a bit of it again today just made me feel really bad for the fact that we had that discussion. Oh, how do you make a rhythm action game feel fresh and and it's like, Thumper did it, and it's incredible. Like, Thumper just sort of comes on and goes, "Oh, you know, there's music games where you're like, oh, look at me, I'm doing the notes, I'm in the Beatles." And it's like, how about if it was fucking terrifying instead? And everything, and you are...
How about it's angry?
Yeah.
And the tone of it, Sean, it speaks, you know, this is a shit comparison, I guess, but it feels like 9 Inch Nails, the game. You know what I mean? It's that sort of aggression, you know, the sort of industrial sound, the drums. It just, it speaks to me on so many levels, and that's what I mean. It feels like distilled anger, and that's what makes it feel. I don't know. It sort of makes it feel a bit important when you're playing. It's hard to explain.
No,
but
what you
I'm
mean.
well into it.
There's a real, like, every level, sort of, you know, it'll have a few sections where it's sort of building you up and teaching you things, and then there'll just be bits that are just like cool bits of percussion, and those bits you're just like, fuck, this is amazing. Like, you can't do more than a couple of levels per session. I find, like, it just fucks you up too much.
Yeah, it's so intense.
What I'm finding myself doing is getting to the end of a level and just repeating it over and over again. Just keep on repeating it. Because and that's what I used to do with Owendan. I progressed through that slowly because I would always go back and just repeat levels over and over again before moving on. And that's a good sign. You know, that's a very good sign. It was funny though. I was playing it the other day on the telly, and Harry was sitting there watching it, and he was completely glazed over, totally obsessed, like looking at it. And after about 5 minutes, I turned around and went, "Do you like this game then, Harry?" He went, No, scary.
Yeah,
Mario Kart 8.
that's exactly what Rachel said. She was like, "This it scared her." She didn't
I can
want to
see
play it.
why. Like, it is just really like everything about the visuals and the music is just so unnerving, and obviously it's totally by design. So fair play.
While we're talking about shit that he's saying at the moment, James, right? He's going through that period of like saying weird shit before going to bed, where he's obviously like half asleep and stuff. And literally tonight, he called me in and he walked out. He went scared, and I went, oh, "What's up, mate?" And he pointed to the empty corner of his room and he went, "The man watching me."
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh no!"
that's horrendous.
And I said, "There's no one there, mate." And he goes, "Yes, he is. He's got a hat on." And I was just like, "Well, right, okay, well, you could stay here, mate. I'll get the fuck out of here." Fucking freaky. Right. Cool. That's me. And who's next? Matt, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. This week I've been playing...
You all right, Matt?
I'm fine, yeah. All good.
Okay, good. Just make sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm playing Farpoint this week, which is a PSVR game.
Excited to hear about this.
So this is it's a debut game from a company called Impulse Gear. There's only like 15 of these it's only a very small company of 15, but this was shown I think probably at the PSVR sort of announcement. A lot of people suspected it might have been a launch title, but it wasn't. But it felt like although at one point people thought this was going to come out for October. Because it was being pushed back to now, and it felt like this was very much designed and built with PS4 Pro in mind. And I think instantly graphically, this is definitely one of the strongest, if not the strongest PSVR game I've played in terms of graphics. But the game itself, it's a first person shooter in VR. It's fairly standard in terms of shooters. I mean, it's not going to trouble something like Tights or even the most recent Call of Duties in terms of the things it does. It's very simplistic, but the fact it's in VR, I think for me personally elevates it to another level. So the game, the story itself is you're a pilot. I can't remember the guy's name, but you're a pilot, and you're in space to rescue or to get these two astronauts off a space station. As you go there, you're unable to dock because something goes wrong on the ship. So these two astronauts are doing a spacewalk to fix the ability for you to dock to their ship. At that point, a massive wormhole opens up and sucks you and everyone in a nearby vicinity off to this alien planet. I mean, it basically looks like you've landed on Mars. The difference is that this Mars is filled with massive spiders and other enemies towards the latter part of the game. But yeah, it's a first-person shooter. It's in VR. I guess the most interesting about it is that you can get it with a bundle which comes with a physical gun controller, which means you have sort of one-to-one control of a weapon in the game, and that is definitely the most exciting thing about this game. It feels so good to fire this weird white plastic tubing looking peripheral that you've got, but it feels so good to have that tracking one-to-one in VR. It's absolutely class. And the peripheral itself, it's really big. It's much bigger than I thought, but it's got a pink sort of thing at the front to track the light, so the camera can track where the gun is. It's got a trigger, obviously, but it's got all the buttons that a DualShock has. So it's got two sticks. It's got obviously the circle, triangle, square, and X buttons. It's got the triggers. It's got the share button. It's got everything really, and it just feels so good to fire weapons. One of the most amazing things about VR. Actually, before I do this, I know I'm going to be classic Matt Murray about this and be really positive about it. A game that everyone else has reviewed, like generally about 6 or 7 out of 10, but it's all I know, so fuck it. So I'll just carry on. But I thought this game was really, really brilliant. Well, I can't remember what I was talking about. Yeah, so the gun, the gun is really fantastic. But the fact that you got a physical gun, it makes you do things which are just instinctive, which you wouldn't think a game would really make you do. Like, so you can obviously fire a weapon in game, and the one of the first weapons you have is assault rifle. Comes with this glass scope on top of the gun, and you physically in real life will be raising the gun towards your chin to actually to look through the scope, and when you do that, a red crosshair appears to sort of show you where you're accurately aiming. But just instinctively, you do close one of your eyes to, as you would do, I guess, with a real gun. And that's what I love about VR, the fact that you're instinctively doing these things that you would do in real life, and they're working in the game. I thought that was such a great moment. It doesn't say hold it up to your head. It doesn't say squint. You just instinctively close one eye to look down the barrel of the gun to fire at enemies. So as I said, the main enemy in this game is these spiders. And when I was first playing the game in the first hour or so, the first half an hour, I guess, are you basically traversing this planet. You don't see much. A lot of people complain it's got a bit of a slow start, but I think it's fine. In fact, if anything, I was taking ages just walking along the surface of Mars, just stopping, looking at the amazing scenery, looking at the things in the background. I think if you're into space, and I am, I think space is amazing. I'm sure everyone does, but even films like Interstellar, like, really blew me away to look at the imagery. And this makes me feel a similar sort of feeling, in that I was happy just to walk around and see the incredible environment and just and just experience what it could be like on Mars. So I thought that was amazing. But when you first see these spider enemies, they're sort of crawling around the map. But they're sort of crawling around, but they're in the distance basically at that point. And then gradually, as you get further into the first level, they start getting towards you. The smaller spider enemies, they crawl around, they sort of stop in one place, and then you basically got about a second or two before their legs come up, and then they go jump at you. Now, I'm not scared of spiders, generally. I'm fine with them. But as I was walking through the landscape of Mars with my headphones on, so I've got like full 3D sound. I can hear weird sounds around me. I think that it starts at night time, so it's a bit frightening, because you're sort of in this fully immersed experience, and then you see a spider in the distance. I was walking along, and the spider stops in front of me. Its legs go up, and it jumps, and it jumped at me, obviously in full 3D, and I shrieked like I've never shrieked before. I basically screamed, and I didn't think I'd ever do that. In fact, after I did that, I took the headset off, and I surprised myself that this game had made me scream. Basically, it was like a proper blood curdling, someone's getting killed in a teen horror sort of scream. And then I went upstairs and said, "Oh, Jill, something's happened." She said, "Yeah, I know what's happened, Matt." I think she was shocked that I just let out a blood curdling scream. But when those spiders jump at you, it's like it's fucking terrifying. But towards the end of the game, I got over that.
Fuck that computer game.
There's literally no way in a million years you would ever play this, Dave. But I will say, so you have those smaller spider enemies, and then obviously as the enemies get much bigger, and every different type of spider enemy, they have different tactics. Some burrow underground, and you've got to like walk backwards as that's happening to you have a bit of a gap between the area of ground that they come up from, and you can fire at them. There's also massive, one of the bosses is like a 60 or 70 foot spider, and at that point there was loads of them on the ground running around me. I wasn't even bothered about them. I was just focused on the huge boss. Were you going to say something there, Dave?
So there was a couple of things, because I after you telling me about the game, I didn't really know much about it and what the enemies were and stuff like that, but I thought, let me see how realistic this stuff is. So I watched some footage, and a couple of things that I picked up on. The game's got a hell of a lot of aim assist, doesn't it? Do you think it needed that?
I'm not sure. It has got aim assist. It's hard to say how much it's got, because you're swinging around. It's 1-to-1. It's 1-to-1. But I'm sure it has got it, but it didn't feel like it was. It didn't feel like that at all to me.
Have a look at some of the footage. If it's not something you'll notice, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was something that you didn't really notice once you're playing the game. But have a look at the some of the footage that people have put up of them playing it. You're like, fuck me, the bullets are basically magnets to the enemies. Like, they seem to be flying directly.
I certainly missed a fair few.
That's not a criticism.
Yeah,
that's not a criticism. That's probably good game design, because if it has got that in there, it obviously needs it. And if you haven't noticed it, then who gives a shit? That's all good.
No, I haven't noticed it, but I also missed tons of enemies and got killed loads. So in terms of controls, yeah. So this is the gun peripheral, and you can play it with a DualShock if you want, but it feels like the gun's the way to play it. It's got two sticks as a regular DualShock would. So one is there for turning, and one's there for strafing. When you first start the game, it doesn't actually. The default setting is for you not to be able to turn at all, so you're just basically strafing. Which works in many ways because
what?
Yeah,
how's that?
But no,
you're not turning at all. You're just strafing.
Yeah.
Well, and going forwards and back.
And going forwards. It's doing that obviously to minimize sickness and whatnot. But you can change the settings from no turn to small turn to big turn, where it's like turning about 45-degree angles, or we can go all the way and go to smooth, which is after about an hour or so I turn it to smooth, so you can that's full sort of FPS controls. One of the annoying things about the game is that so there's a front stick and a rear stick, and currently you can't change what those sticks do. So although I'm left-handed, I have now switched to playing right-handed. I don't play southpaw anymore like I used to, but as it's currently sort of set, the front stick is strafe. In my mind, I want that to be turn. I want the rear one to be move. Although towards the end, I was totally comfortable with the controls and I was spinning around and it was totally cool. There was the odd occasion where I sort of had to remember to switch the sticks in my mind. So, but the devs have always said that they're patching that in. But level design, this is very, very, very simplistic. You are mostly just walking forward down alleyway. Basically, it's just funneling you forward. It's mostly just straight lines. To the point actually where the spider enemies, they could run at you, and if they run past you, they will then run back in front of you to help you shoot them, which is really nice. It's really funny. Basically, to the point where when the spiders were first jumping at me, I was petrified and running away a lot. But then, if I heard a noise behind me, I didn't stop and turn around because I thought, well, they're going to jump in front of me anyway, so I might as well just keep on going. But the game does open up in certain sort of boss scenarios and towards the end of certain levels, where it is basically a larger arena where you can circle strafe, you can run around. And although the first hour or so of the game, I was feeling a little bit hot, a little bit sweaty, a little bit of sort of motion sickness. Towards the end, I turned the speed up on the movement to max. I had smooth controls, and I was bombing around, in basically like full FPS mode with this controller, and it felt absolutely class. It just felt it felt so good. I mean, I was surprised at how much I could do in the game without feeling sick. And I played Robertson The Journey, which is a much slower paced first-person shooter. Well, it's a first-person adventure game that's much slower paced, and after an hour of that I used to feel sick, and that game took me a while as a result. But this game, I don't know if it's having a physical gun. I played it both standing up and sitting down, and it was fine both ways. But the game took about 8 hours or so to play in the end, and I did it in like 4 sittings. I played one of the sittings was like 3 hours long. I didn't feel sick at all, and I was really surprised how much I could bomb around and not feel sick. But as an FPS, it's incredibly basic. Like I said earlier, it's not going to challenge games like Titanfall and other games like that. It doesn't have the complexity of those. It doesn't have lots of exciting things happening in the environments. But as a
you can't compare. Can you?
I mean, that's something that sort of pissed me off about a lot of things I read about this game in the last week or so. So, generally it's reviewed pretty well, 6 or 7 out of 10. There's a couple of 8s. There's one 4 out of 10 from The Guardian. Simon Parkin is a really great writer, but fucking hell, he really went to town on that game. I think Farpoint nicked his girlfriend in school. Something must have happened between Farpoint and Simon Parkin. He sounded livid in his review, but whatever. Yeah.
What was his point?
It was just saying it said it's amateurish. His first paragraph is the fact he's complaining that the gun peripheral doesn't look like a realistic shooter like the gun con. He says, obviously everyone can have their own opinion, and you can say what you want about anything, and but it's a really weird review. It just sounded so angry. Anyway, but so as an FPS, it's super basic, and if this wasn't in VR, this would just be discounted as some throwback from the 90s, and it's not very good, and it'll be laughing stock. But I don't think you can compare this to regular FPSs because it is in VR and it does have this physical controller. And this I thought is really, really fucking excellent. I'll probably give it an 8 if I was reviewing it, so I'm not saying it's a 9 or 10, but it was so immensely fun to fire weapons, to circle strafe, to shoot his enemies. Seeing a 70 foot sort of Spider as a boss. It was just immensely fun. It was class having the physical gun. I think that really, really make a huge difference. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I enjoyed this campaign way more than the most recent Halo game, for instance. And yeah, sure, if I was playing this just 2D mode, I probably wouldn't have bothered after the first or second level. But story-wise, I think it's engaging. What you're mostly doing is you're this guy essentially just wandering around Mars, following these two holograms of these other two astronauts that you're trying to find the location of. So you'll go around shooting enemies, and then at various points during the game, you'll see a hologram which you sort of scan with your gun, and then you're essentially replaying a bit of their story from their point of view. And the dialogue is really good between the two characters. The motion the motion capture is really, really good. It's really realistic. And it does draw you into the story. I mean, it's not going to challenge something like Uncharted, of course, for that stuff. But I was really impressed.
But it's funny. It's weird. I mean, you were saying that you can't really compare it to games, but in that sentence, you've been comparing it to games quite a bit. And I don't. Yeah, but I think this is. There's that. I suppose it's an easy touch point of saying, well, it doesn't have. It doesn't play like this, or it doesn't look like that, whatever. But it's such a separate entity that it's kind of like saying, oh, no, this 3DS game doesn't look as good as the PlayStation. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's just that it kind of feels that, is it, like, as you say, if you weren't playing it in VR, then you probably wouldn't give it the time of day. But at the same time, you can't just take the VR away from it.
And that's the main point. This feels like a game that's designed. I mean, this is a debut game in Pulse Gear. It was a game designed for VR. It wasn't just a shooter with VR bits in. And I don't think they do a lot of clever bits that wouldn't be done without VR, but it just seems to work really, really well for VR.
Well, and that's what it sets out to do, isn't it? It doesn't set out to challenge current first-person shooters on these consoles.
But I think this does show me that FPSs, in inverted commas, proper FPSs could absolutely be done in VR. And this is a debut game from a small studio. It has been sort of backed by Sony, and it feels like it's been elevated in a way as a first-party title, but. Yeah, and this gets me much more excited for what the future is going to bring in, like, say, 5 years, or if, say, like EA makes an FPS, or a Call of Duty is in full VR. I think it could work absolutely well. I think this gun controller's class. It's not just for this one game as well. Other games are being patched. Brookhaven Experiment is being patched for it. There's now a shooting game called Dick Wild that's out at the same time as Farpoint. Arizona Sunshine is a game that came out on Vive and Oculus, and that reviewed really well. That's an FPS sort of zombie game that's going to use its gun controller as well. So the gun control itself is absolutely class, and it's just so immensely fun. I was doing that thing, particularly when I was shooting bosses, where, in movies where there's always like, there's a guy that maybe is about to kill the boss or about to kill an enemy, and he or she has like a line which you wouldn't ordinarily say if you're really in that situation, say like sayonara or whatever, like at the point where they're killing someone. I found myself, I was doing that loads, like, for some reason. It just felt really, really fun to shoot enemies.
On, let's hear a couple.
Well, my main was Abrigado, motherfucker. I don't know where that even came from, but I was...
Abrigado?
Yeah, it's Portuguese for thank you. Anyway, I know, because I still loads it on a holiday years ago. But yeah, I was just like, when I was like firing these like grenades and rockets at this massive spider, and I knew that one more was going to kill it. It just, I don't know, it's very much. It made me feel class just firing his weapons, and I thought the game was brilliant. And I think if you got PSVR, I think you have to get this. I'm not saying it's not a 10, and it has its issues, and some people would say it's quite short, I guess. But for 8 hours, it's easily one of the best experiences I've had on PSVR, and it was immensely fun. If there's DLC or sequel, I'll be well up for it. And I think it's brilliant to play. Such fun. That's
cool.
it.
That sounds good. I mean, I could never play it for obvious reasons, but
no. But if anyone listening has a chance to play, you should. It's just the gun control is so class. I want every game to use that. It's brilliant.
I'm starting to think that Sony are going to push PSVR again, because I'm getting a lot of promotional emails.
Speaking of which, actually, this game debuted at number 2 in the charts this week or last week, whenever it was. And like, no, the highest any PSVR game has chart up to now is 7th, and that was in launch week with PSVR Worlds. So this is second. I think only Injustice 2 charted higher at number 1, and this sold more than the most recent Fire Emblem Heroes game that came out last week on 3DS. So it's clearly sold incredibly well. And yeah, I hope this is enough to kickstart Sony and for them to do more VR stuff. Obviously, E3's not too far away, but yeah, this game is not a 10 out of 10 that some people may have hoped it was, but I think it's an incredibly fun experience, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Yeah, no, I genuinely think Sony are going to make a bit of a push for PSVR because, as I say, the promotional emails they've been sending through recently have all been about PSVR. And I'm thinking they're kind of thinking, actually, this is selling quite well. Maybe we need to do a little bit more to promote it. So
yeah, apparently it sold like
we'll see.
PSVR sold like 375,000 units in the first quarter of this year, which I think is pretty darn good considering they're hard to get hold of. It hasn't got great sort of. Well, I think the people who love it really love it. A lot of people just discount it as rubbish. You know, I've seen some NeoGAF threads this week where people are saying, how much of the E3 conference would you like Sony to dedicate to VR? And those people are saying, none, because VR's bollocks, what's the point? But I think it seems to be selling really, really well. I think it's done at 1.2 million, at least the last time they revealed figures. So there's lots of people that are super passionate about it. I mean, I'm clearly a huge VR fan. And if we can elevate relatively substandard games to feel like something completely different because of VR, yeah, I'm up for more of those games.
Cool. All right. Anything else?
I started the Disgaea 5 demo. That's about it. But no, it's all Farpoint this week.
Matt, are you still playing Prey? I just wonder
no.
where you're at with that.
No, I sold it.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you finish it?
No. I thought I was really enjoying it, but I was never going to finish it, and I'd use that money to buy another game. Speaking of another game to buy, Rime seems to be reviewing super well.
Oh yeah,
that's out this week.
Yeah, that's definitely interested in that.
Yeah, I thought it looked good anyway, but I know a lot of people may not care about it anymore, but it got a 9 in Edge. I haven't seen many other reviews, so I haven't really been looking at it. But yeah, Rime looks like another one that's well worth buying.
I'm just kind of surprised because you seem really high on.
Yeah, I did,
Prey.
but I just thought I'm never going to finish it, and I've still got to get through Doom. There's loads of other games, and obviously, you know, games like Arms.
Oh shit! You've not got through Doom.
No, so something else came out, so I've got that to play. And there's loads I've got other things.
Is that my copy of Doom?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shit! I forgot about that. And also, I have sent another game to James recently that I just remembered that I sent him. Yeah.
Well, I haven't received anything yet.
No, you have. You've got it. I remember what the game was, but then I totally. Fuck.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've not received anything.
No, I gave you a game about 4 months ago.
You didn't? Seriously? I can't think of anything.
No, I did. I'll remember it again and I'll bring it up and you'll go, oh yeah, I've got that. If you haven't sold it, which I'm pretty convinced that's what you're doing to all my games these days.
I've got a couple of your games. It's ridiculous. But you ain't sent me anything because you were punishing me for not sending you Rise of the Tomb Raider back.
No, there was another one since Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Definitely wasn't.
Right, okay, when I mention it, and you go, oh yeah, I've got that one, you can apologise.
Yeah, I will, yeah. But you're wrong. But okay.
Okay, we'll find out. Sean, what you been playing, man?
I'll keep this brief because we might actually get to do the questions if I do.
Yeah, sorry.
I've been playing Dragon Quest Heroes 2. This is... I'll put Dragon Quest Heroes.
This one
it's
very
Dragon
brief.
Quest Warriors, isn't it? Is it Heroes? Warriors? Fucking, who cares? It's the Dynasty Warriors 1 that's set in the Dragon Quest universe because that's the thing that people are into. First one was pretty good, quite enjoyed it. This one, I just did my head in for some reason. Like, it plays absolutely fine and it's got these sort of cool... like, it has these sections where rather than it just being like, here is a battle, here's you, here's the enemy, here's some sections you need to take over, whatever. It's just like, look, here's an area, just like go for a wander and kill some guys on the way, and that's pretty cool. It's like just having little open worldy bits. But the fucking menus absolutely pissed me off for some reason. It just felt like every time I did something or I opened up a new menu or selected something, there'd be a little fucking text box coming up saying, right, and now here's the menu where you do this, or you've just done this, or like just and just with all like a slight delay on them, you can't just clear them instantly. to the point that it just felt like between missions, you level up your guys and unlock new skills and stuff. And I just didn't want to. It just pissed me off so much. And the rest of the game is fine, but not really good enough to just warrant the absolute drudgery of the fucking menus.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's good.
It's weird, isn't it? Maybe like that. The menus have come a long way.
Well, exactly.
Recently,
it's just like,
and it is weird when you go back to games like that where you just think, "Oh my god, what is going on
it's
here?"
Like, why does this feel 20 years old? Like, it just feels like such a barrier. It's weird.
To some extent, one of the weaker parts of Zelda is the menu system in that game, and you just kind of think, well, it's a bit of a throwback. You know what I mean? Like how I don't know. I didn't really like using the menus in that game. Like I was always ending up in the wrong place and then forgetting where everything was, and I just kind of think, wow, we've solved this. Why are we going through this again?
Yeah. But it's not a bad game by any means. It's that Dynasty Warriors combat is in there. That's fine. It's got really interesting stuff. The first one had this whole system where you as you killed enemies, you would sometimes pick up little coins. And they basically allowed you had like a little inventory bar where you could basically chuck these coins out and they would summon these enemies. In this one, sometimes you summon an enemy, but sometimes like certain enemies drop coins that like they'll just do like a special attack, or in cases of some of the larger enemies, you'll just become them for a bit, and that's really fun. So you just be like smashing around as a giant stone creature or whatever and knocking the fuck out of people. That's pretty good. But yeah, there's loads of story bits as well. And when you're playing a game and the story's bad, but you sort of feel like you should keep an eye on it just so you know what's going on. But then sometimes it's like, do you know what? I literally don't need to see any of this. Like, just put me in the next battlefield and tell me to kill.
Yeah, I've never done that in games. Some people say, I'll play for a game and I haven't even bothered with the story, but I can't. I've got to at least understand slightly what's happening. I couldn't just keep hammering X to skip cutscenes.
Yeah, see, generally that's me, but on this occasion I was like, no, this is literally a waste of the only life I'll ever have. So I just skipped all the cutscenes after a bit. And it was a better game for it. But yeah, just not a particularly good one overall, which is a shame. Tell you what is particularly good overall, though. Old Man...
Here we go, there's a segue.
Old Man's Journey.
This is the mobile game, yeah?
Yeah, well, I played this on a PC at Rest the other month and really enjoyed it. And I had no idea it was coming to your telephones and your tablets.
Yeah, I've seen it advertised everywhere on the App Store, and I'm like, I think it's a $5. I'm like, do I buy it? But it looks gorgeous.
It is, yeah, it's so fucking nice. Like, gameplay-wise, there's very little to it. You're tapping around to guide an old man around these sort of different landscapes, and the trick is you can sort of grab bits of the landscape and sort of pull them around, thus providing a route for the old man. And, like, it's just, like, it's not difficult, but it doesn't need to be, because it's just really pleasant. But occasionally quite sad, because as you're sort of trudging around as this old dude with a walking stick, you'll see things that remind him of, or what appears to be reminding him of, like when he met his wife and his relationship with her. And obviously, it appears that she's not around anymore for one reason or the other. So it's all sort of a bit melancholic and
that'll kill me. That
it's pretty bad at times.
It's just up.
Yeah,
up gets me every time. I cannot watch Up without blubbing like a baby throughout. Yeah. Even the dogs get me. They're trying to talk, but they've got to rely on these colours. It gets me every time.
There's definitely an element of that. Like it is sort of like it just goes from being like really beautiful and pleasant to like, that's actually really sad. I mean, the old guy doesn't seem like it's not like he's remembering these things and then bawling his eyes out. He is just like happily reminiscing, but it's bittersweet, to say the least. But yeah, like, I mean, visually, it's fucking beautiful. Just really nice sort of oil painting style, I guess. Beautifully animated and lovely soundtrack, and just what a nice thing to click through for a bit. I haven't finished it yet. I've had it on for about half an hour.
How long is the game so far? How long have you played so far of it?
I'm about half an hour in.
Okay.
And it does, like, the detail in the environments and stuff, like, it wouldn't surprise me if it ended quite soon. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
how much was it?
It's like £4 or £5, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's five. It's
That's
5 on
not bad.
iOS.
Yeah. But, I mean, the work that must have gone into the visuals alone, so, fair enough. Like, it is beautiful.
So speaking of games that make you blub, To the Moon is out on iOS. If anyone fancies a good, I mean, I played on PC. That's an incredible game. Have you played that?
So don't play that on the train, Jesus.
Yeah, I played it through. It didn't get me.
Did it not?
But no, I thought it was good, but for some reason it didn't get me. I
Does
can't
a lot
remember
of the same
why. I
things
think
that would get me when I'm watching Up about relationships and whatnot. Oh God,
it didn't do dad stuff. That if you want to get me, dad stuff is the stuff that gets me. It always has done. Like before becoming a dad, like that stuff always got me. That fucking JCB song, forget about it. I listened to that, and I know it's a bit crap or whatever, but Jesus Christ, I listened to that song and I'm fucking gone. It's ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying. Like, with Up, yeah, obviously the stuff at the start that gets me, but also the bit where the guy just turns up at his little scout thing. That fucking done. I think I've said before, like we watched that in the cinema, and the credits rolled, and Joe went, "Okay, let's go," and I went, "Joe, I've got to sit here for a little bit first. I can't walk out like this." Like, just like looking at me, just like, sort yourself out.
Do you think that's a thing with, like, now that we're all sort of at a point where we've established our lives and we've got all our ducks in a row, and it's like, right, this is it now. This is, if everything just stayed like this forever, that's probably brilliant. And then
I think it's because my dad was a bit of a prick to me when I was growing up. That's probably what it was. Fucking wind-up merchant, the fella. But then, like father, like son and all that. Right, okay, is that we done? Should we get into some questions? We need to do some questions.
Should.
Sorry, it's late, innit, again?
It is.
I'm so tired. I mean, Saturday took it out. I mean, talk about getting old. I can't do that shit anymore. I found a video on my phone taken it was only like 10 o'clock, but I'd obviously been drinking since about 10 in the morning, of me walking along a tram line in Croydon going, "I'm on the tram line. I don't know what I'm doing here. Probably well, tell you what."
It's quite a good track. It's quite a good tune, actually, because I was actually singing that to myself all morning after watching that video.
Did you watch that video?
Did. And I was singing that in the bedroom. Like, why are you...
This is me after the Plough final, 10 Oh, it was taken at 9:20. It's not even that bad. But I was fucking hammered, right? Tramline in Croydon, don't know where I am. Tramline in Croydon, probably gonna get hit. Tramline in Croydon. And then it cuts off.
Tramline in Croydon. I mean, is that like a melody from another song? You've changed the words, or is that your own work?
No.
That's brilliant.
Imagine if you had been hit by a tram and that was your last recording.
Oh God!
That leaks on local news.
Yeah. What a fucking idiot!
Imagine if it became like a number one signal in your deck.
Yeah. Like Ed Sheeran would definitely re-release that.
Oh shit! What is that Libby thing?
Oh yeah,
wrong
way down a one-way street.
Down a one-way street. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's have the first question.
Who's going to read these? Is it going to be Matt or is it me?
Well, no one's forcing you, James. I mean,
James, why would it be anyone else?
Well, because when I opened this doc today, it said emails and it just said Matt, and then tweets and it just said
that's
Matt.
because you weren't here last week.
All right, okay. If you want to email us,
to be honest, Matt was fucking excellent at it last week, so I think it should be James doing it this week. So we could just highlight how bad he is at this.
If you want to email us, it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. And the first person that's emailed us is Simon Saint, who says, "Hi TCGS, was listening with interest to the discussion around Mass Effect being binned and the funding from publishers' side of it. Knowing nothing about games development funding at all, I was surprised that there was an expectation that a publisher would continue to fund a developer who missed a deadline. As an architect, I can't think of any client who would continue to pay us fees if we failed to deliver our work. We'd have to complete the work at our own cost until it's done. Surely a publisher would have a similar arrangement. Why would they sign up to a potential bottomless pit? Anyway, love the show. Can't wait to hear the new format, how the old one's dead."
As an architect, you don't own the rights to the building and any further use of that building once it's been built, whereas I think BioWare do. But John Denton sent us a message. Well, you might have texted me actually, just saying, oh, you do know that EA own BioWare, so that makes the relationship slightly different. And I didn't even think of that. It's fucking stupid. But then again, I'm pretty sure they still have, they work things out between them.
Yeah.
That they have to stick to, deadlines and so forth. So, I mean, it was all speculation last week. And I think you've got a valid point. Maybe you are right. But I don't know. I just don't know the complexities
of it. It's pretty clear there's not a bottomless pit, because if that's the case, they wouldn't have released it that way. The fact it released in such a state, it's very clear that they had a very set budget and deadline and get it out. Well,
it's not just that either. It's down to investment as well. And it was one of those things. It's like we always go, why do you do these like weird launch events where they spend a shit ton of money getting celebrities to turn up and play their games for 5 minutes? Well, so they could turn to investors and say, look at all the cool people playing our game and who are excited about our game. Look at this big party and everyone showed up. That's how important this game is to people. Please invest more money. And I think it's the same with EA in terms of, we've promised whoever's piling the money into this thing that it will be out in this financial year. I mean, you must have situations as an architect. I know very well that you've got to deliver a building. If it's a retail building, especially, you've got to deliver it like in a certain financial year. And if you go over that, then a fuck ton of money gets lost. And that, there's the pressures there. But we don't release it. We don't open it without doors. Put it that way.
I mean, my understanding of like large AAA projects is that they always have like pre-agreed milestones with the publisher, and then they hit them, they get another payment. But then in reality, what often happens is the developers have to go cap in hand to the publisher. Like, you said you'd give us that money once we'd done the thing. We haven't done the thing, but we can't do it unless you give us the money you're supposed to give us upon doing the thing. So can we have it? And and then so there's that constant thing on the publisher's part where they have to be like, well, if we don't give them the money, then the money we've wasted thus far was a waste and goes to nothing. So
yeah, and I mean there is that side of it. I mean, you making the comparison with architecture, I don't think that you can really, especially when it comes to design and build projects. But there are still moments where you're kind of like, we promised we'd do this part of the building. Well, it's not done yet, but you're still going to have to pile money into it. It's like, so. Yeah,
I mean, he's certainly right in that there's plenty of other industries where you quote an amount, and then if you fuck up the quote, that's on you. Like, the person.
Oh yeah, big time. But then there's power involved, isn't it? Yeah. And ownership, and it's not quite the same business relationship as it would be at a client and an architect. Yeah. But I understand your point, and you could be completely right here. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know enough about it, but we was just kind of speculating.
I mean, there are also loads of projects that just get shut down anyway, aren't there? Like games that just don't get released. And I mean, Microsoft went on that massive cold, didn't they? Where they just like closed everything, like like Lionhead and like all of those, because they pretty much didn't think they could finish what they were working on.
Yeah, and it's so funny because, like, from our perspective, where I was like, "Oh, why have they done that? That's shit." I was looking forward to those games. It's like, well, maybe they were bad. Maybe they were beyond, like, because there are so many,
total dog shit.
like, so many shit games that come out because they had like I think there's less of it now. I think publishers are a bit more severe when it comes to pulling the plug, but like, there was definitely an era where. The example I always like to use, I can never remember the fucking name of it. Was it Fracture? It was the game where you could like raise and lower the land.
Oh yeah.
I remember that game. Yeah,
pure shit, right? But like a publisher had been sold that on the basis that it had this gimmick where you raise and lower the land, and at some point during development, someone twigged that it just wasn't very good, but the money had been spent, so fucking bring us a game where the land goes up and down. Like, whereas
I just imagine a guy in a suit walking into a studio and going, no, I want a game where the land goes up and down.
Creates valuable tactical opportunities. You told me 6 months ago it was going to create valuable tactical opportunities. But I think now, I think publishers are it feels like there are fewer turkeys like that with like a gimmick. The last one I can think of was it Inversion, the one that was the shooter where it was all gravity stuff, but nowhere near as clever as anyone thought. People thought it was going to be like you hit a button and then it is zero gravity and you can just zip around, but actually it was like step on a platform. Now the gravity is sideways. And
was that before or after Devil's Third, the game where it was a third-person shooter and also a first-person shoot? I think the original point that started this discussion on the podcast last week still stands. I mean, the reason we were talking about this was we were saying, hey, don't blame BioWare for this. It might not be their fault. Don't get angry at BioWare. It could be someone else's fault here, and I still think that's valid. We don't know enough about it, but yeah. Okay, cool. Next one.
Okay, James Hughes says, hi guys, last week Dave mentioned Sony not having loads of upcoming exclusives and unsure what they'll do for E3. So then he's got a big list of stuff, like you've got like God of War, Detroit, Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man, Days Gone, Death Stranding, Ni no Kuni 2, Gran Turismo Sport Dreams. Then he says, plus presumably we'll find out what Sucker Punch will be working on since their last game was Infamous Second Son. Decent lineup if you ask me. So what do you think, Dave?
I think he's absolutely right. I think I forgot a lot of those titles, and I don't know why. But they weren't entering my head last week. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There were a bunch of games. I was like, when I read that list, I was like, oh fuck yeah, because they did. If we remember back to E3 last year, the general feeling we got from the PS4 conference was, wow, there's a lot of games there, but not a lot coming out this year. What are they going to do this year? Whereas Microsoft were like, here are these exclusives. They're all coming out at the end of the year. And yeah, so totally forgot about that from E3 last year. And there are quite a few in the pipeline. I'd be interested to see how many of them are actually going to make it this year.
Okay, next one is from Capone. He says, will there ever be a Rocket League 2?
Probably.
Does there need to be? Like, where do you go from there? Like,
but there doesn't need to be, but there's got to be that temptation there for the developers to go, actually, we could earn a fuck ton of money with Rocket League 2, and they could.
I mean, do you think it would need to be, like, because it's going to a new platform, or like it would need to be a next-gen thing, or do you think they will do it this gen?
Oh, will they do it?
Well, they could do a FIFA and just like do annual releases. Just with
no, they won't.
That's
do
obviously
that.
not their model, though. Like
that.
They seem to be quite happy just putting out bits of content for a few quid, and
yeah, because I think people do buy that stuff. I do think there'll be a Rocket League 2. Will it be next gen? No, I don't. I think it will be this gen. What will they add? Well, Rocket League: The Journey, that's going to be added.
You see, I was going to say, I think you're joking, but I'd probably play that.
Yeah,
Rocket League story.
I wonder.
Fucking hell.
I wonder if they'll get. I wonder what licenses are coming in the next one. I wonder how far they're going to go. Like, am I going to be able to buy a Manchester United card? That sort of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think there's potential to make it. I don't think they should change too much.
I mean, in terms of licensing, it's kind of fascinating because there's two directions it can go in. It can go down the motorsport angle or the sports angle.
Yeah,
you know?
I was just thinking like Rocket League Golf.
Or both. Rocket League Golf will be pretty good. No, here's what I think. In the next 2 years, we'll either see a Rocket League 2 or a huge content update for Rocket League 1. And it will be, they don't want to split up the player base. So I'm thinking maybe a content update would be a good way of doing it. Look, here are a ton of new arenas, but then you want everyone to play on them. I don't know. I don't know where they go from here without either pissing people off or breaking up their huge player base. But yeah, I think it's inevitable that we will see a sequel or some sort of huge expansion. They've got to. I mean, the money's sort of just dangling there waiting to be taken. So yeah, probably actually thinking about it now, it probably will be a full-on sequel rather than a big content update. Avoid breaking up the player base, starting afresh, getting that huge amount of money in. I think, yeah, it'll happen. Okay.
Well, now that Millwall has made it back into the Championship, will Mr. Turner...
Sorry, I didn't hear the What was that? Let's start again. A break up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi all.
Hi.
Now that Millwall have made it back into the Championship, will Mr. Turner's
No,
be...
sorry, hold on. No. It's gone again. Say that again.
Are you taking the piss, or is this real?
I am, yeah. I just wanted to hear you say about Millwall getting back into the Championship again. It's been great. I could hear that all night.
Anyway, Martin Topping wants to know if you're going to be using them in PES 2018 and whether any of us use the option files that you get with that.
That took me a day to work out. The next day on a Sunday, I sort of was thinking, wow, Championship, can't believe it. We don't have to enter round one of the FA Cup. We don't have to go on that stupid Checker Trade Trophy thing anymore. We don't have to wait until 1 o'clock in the morning to watch a 2-second clip of the highlights. And then I just thought, fuck, we're in PES 2018. This is the good life. Yes, I will be playing with them, although they would have to work on their matchmaking, because in 2017, like, I would pick a Championship side and always get put up against Barcelona or Real Madrid. So hopefully they work that out, which you could do manually, but the way that FIFA does it is just much better. But yeah, no, of course I'll be playing as them in what's there, and I'll be calling up my old mate DJ Damos, saying, sort it out, get the Millwall kit right. Lovely old job. Can't wait. Cannot wait for that game. Oh, Saturday was good, man. It was good. Sorry, Sean, I forgot. I forgot Tranmere lost in the playoff final.
Did they?
So I don't want to run it in. What do you mean,
Did
did they?
says. He's just trying to block it out. It's fine. I understand that.
Yeah, he's blacked it out. He got so upset.
Speaking of
brains blocked it all out.
PES, aren't they releasing a mobile version, aren't they, this month? PES for iOS.
Well, I apparently, I don't know if I'll play it.
Of course you will. Of course you
Probably
will.
well, I did play a lot of FIFA on iOS.
FIFA on iOS was terrible, though, wasn't it? It wasn't.
It was fantastic, James. It was fantastic. Next question.
Okay, tweets. If you want to tweet us, it's at ComputerGamePod. Athene Allen says, how does Sean feel about Corbyn visiting his favourite team?
Game recognised game, mate.
Next question.
Okay. Rikaku Police says,
Okay.
we got to that stage of the night, haven't we, again? Where it's just...
Okay. It's just a really weird way of saying okay. I mean, I know we're a show that regularly says the word okay in a weird way, but you literally went, okay.
It's a throwback to a teacher I used to have in school who he always used to, instead of saying okay, he always used to go, okay. Like that.
Oh, yeah, we go, okay.
Hockey?
Yeah, whatever the guy goes, okay. But that wasn't what you did. You went, okay.
Okay.
Okay, James. Okay. Go on.
Rikaku Police says, hi James, what are the main reasons for the slowdown of the Chinese economy? Will they be able to avoid a financial crash? Now,
next question.
Do you want me to go into this in detail? Because I could.
No.
Okay.
I don't want you to go into it at all. I want you to go, bad, innit? Next question. You're going to do your thing about that they tried to get everyone to invest. The government tried to get everyone to invest in stocks and the stock market crashed.
No. Anyway.
You've told that before.
Oh, that's a whole separate thing.
Save it for interface, James.
Buscalini says...
Yeah, please save it for interface, Jesus.
Buscalini says, has Matt got any more good documentary recommendations? After watching Tickled and the HBO one he tweeted, I'm keen for more weird, dark dives.
Yeah, the one on Twitter is called Mummy, Dead and Dearest. It's on YouTube. It's a HBO documentary. Watch it about reading into it. It's really fascinating.
I watched the first 20 minutes of that the other night before I went to bed, and yeah, my word, I need to watch the rest of that. It's so rare that you see a documentary like that where it feels like it's setting up a story and it goes, no, and it's just like coming out with little twists like straight away. There was about 8 twists in the opening 20 minutes.
It keeps
I'm
doing
going,
that
what
as
the
well.
fuck is going on here?
I haven't started watching it, but there's a new Netflix show called The Keepers. It's like another sort of making a murderer type thing. I haven't seen that yet, but people are raving about that one. There's tons of good documentaries out there. I mean, millions.
One that might have passed you by. You probably not, but just in case, if you liked Making a Murderer, which you I guarantee you've seen because everyone was talking about it. Watch The Jinx; it's better.
Jinx is brilliant.
Just incredible. It's just incredible. That don't look it up. Don't look it up because it will spoil it the moment you look it up.
That was another
but just watch The
HBO
Jinx.
series, but yeah, so good.
God, that was good. That was really good.
On the subject of documentaries that can be spoiled, Catfish. Have you guys all seen it?
Yeah.
Well, the MTV TV show. No, I'm joking. The film.
David, I've got no sense of humour about this. Okay. So they did the film Catfish, which is amazing, and the less you know about it going in, the better. And then they did a TV show, the very premise of which spoils the film.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, of course. I still maintain that if they ever do a Catfish UK version, Matt and I should present it.
Yep.
I think we'd be perfect for the job.
Especially the Googling.
Hang on, because Matt would be the camera guy, but then Dave, that means you have to be like the caring, nice one.
No, we don't have to do it like the Americans do it. Sitting down with someone just going, "What the fuck you doing, mate?"
She was always a guy, you idiot.
Yeah.
Think about it. Look at the pictures.
Dave just taking one look and goes, "A fucking nonce, mate. What are you doing?"
She would take you. And look at her. She would never go with you. Think about it, you idiot. Yeah.
Every initial interview being done in a pub after 8 pints.
And the bit when I search Google Images, I'm like, no, I've got this, Dave. Don't fuck off. I'm using, and you're like, Matt, use Bing. I'm not using Bing, Dave. I know the right click. I've got to plug in. It'll be fine.
I think you should just do this and not get permission.
Yes. If anyone that has a Catfish story, YouTube. Tweet us or email us, and Dave and I will just record it, and we'll have you'll bang on the channel. Yeah,
get on Patreon.
Let's start soliciting stories now. But yeah, good. Catfish, very good.
Next question.
Muscularly also says, is Dave going to put himself into Millwall on PES next year, or is that as bad as playing as a Mii or Mario Kart?
No, I used to do that as a kid, but I stopped that once I was about
29?
14? No, about 14 I stopped putting my own player in there because then I realised I just ruined the game because I'd obviously give myself the best stats possible.
See, I stopped doing it when I realised that I was no longer, I was too old to play professional football anyway, so I just thought...
when the age counter on the bio thing wouldn't go up that high.
Is it a bit do you feel a bit sort of weird in the sense that it's like, I wish I was in the team and I was friends with all the guys and they'd all think I was really cool and... I think that's what would throw me off more than anything.
And you'd always overcompensate passing to yourself as well. Turner's running down the ring, give it to him, but he's marked by about 3 people and there's a free man up. Just give it to him.
Give it to him. He'll take around 4 people,
Yeah, depressing. All right.
Transter says, is Sean the only one in the crew who has pets? If so, did you guys own one in your lifetime?
Me, I had a dog called Harris named after the Millwall football player Neil Harris, who's currently our manager. He died.
He's the most fun dog in the world.
He was the laziest little shit on the face of the planet. He was like a cat more than a dog. He was the business.
He was greyhound, was he? It was Lurcher.
Lurcher.
Yeah.
Well, he was a greyhound. Was it a greyhound Lurcher cross or something? I don't know, some fucked up breed, but we got him from Battersea Dogs Home, and he was just the absolute business. I miss him. He's my boy. But there you go. I also had a rabbit called Snuffy, who snuffed it big time when a fox come into my garden and ripped his guts out.
Fuck.
Mum and Dad cleared it up and told me that he ran away.
That's almost worse.
Well, no, because I was kind of like, I was sitting there going, I hope Stuffy comes back one day, not knowing that his entrails were in the bin.
That's awful.
I know. But whatever. They were the 2 main pets I had growing up. Anyone else? Matt, did you ever have a pet?
My parents had a dog, and when that died, it was way too upsetting for them, so they didn't have a dog after that. I think the dog died when I was only about 2 or 3, and so it's too much to have another one after that. And we had like hamsters and fish and stuff as kids, but that's where I would love a dog now, but I work all day, so I can't really do it right now. But
we're very lucky. Like, we can only have a dog because I work literally 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah, that's good.
But like, if it wasn't for that, it'd be fucking impossible.
I mean, loads of people bring in like their dogs into the studio, so into the agency. So yeah, but I guess I could do that. But before they got like 3 or 4 dogs, it does get quite hairy at points. So no pets. Sad. I've got a child. That's easy enough. James?
Cool.
Well, you're going to hate me, but you see, I've always had cats. I like cats.
I knew you'd be a cat person.
I fucking
But yeah,
hate cats.
I like cats. They're just, they're good. I like cats.
How many cats have you got?
I don't.
I've only got one at the
cats.
moment, but previously I've had others. Yeah.
Meh. All right, okay, cat. And then they go, "Ooh, dogs are dumb." Well, cats aren't exactly intelligent, are they? Never seen a cat solve a Rubik's Cube, and I know someone's going to send me a
There's a
GIF
great YouTube clip out
of a
there.
cat doing it. Fuck cats.
Have you noticed how on the internet, no one, or hardly anyone shares cat pictures anymore, and it's all, doggos. Look at this doggo.
Horrendous.
It's just a dog.
Oh god, that's
Just
really
call
bad,
it
isn't it? I didn't know that was
Oh
happening.
god, yeah. And it's always people who don't actually have dogs and have never had dogs.
Doggo, innit? Classic doggo.
I just like cats. They're less hassle. You don't have to bother with them. Unless they want to, then they'll bother with you. But otherwise, it's not like a big effort. Like it is with dogs.
Why don't you just have a chair as a pet? You don't have to do anything with it. You just sits there.
No, it's just
Brilliant.
dogs. They're always so needy, and it's just I don't know. I prefer cats.
Not needy.
They
They just love you.
They
because
love you. Yeah.
Anyway, James Swift Day says, anyone
This one's
playing?
come down to dogs versus
Jesus.
cats on the computer
That's
game
epic
show.
shit banter.
20 to midnight, guys.
Okay,
Yeah,
James Day
let's-
says,
last
anyone
one,
played the
last
freshly
one.
released Fire Emblem Echoes?
No.
Oh, pick a better one next. Sorry, who wrote that one in?
James Day.
Sorry, James. Next.
James, have you not thought about it? 'Cause you love Fire Emblem, don't you? I thought you would be all over that.
Yeah, but it's just there's been so many Fire Emblem games released recently, and I haven't got any money.
What, 2 of them?
No, there was that other one that was like there was like three versions, wasn't there? That came out.
Fates. Yeah. No,
Where it cost
because you remember, like, not all that long ago, I finally played, what was it called? The first 3DS one. Awakening. And that was like straight away, like, well, not straight away, it took me a while to get into it, but like, it was like, holy shit, this is like all time top 10, what an amazing game.
Yeah,
and then,
brilliant game.
I've started playing Birthright, I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's not arsed at all. So, Echoes is the same, I'm afraid.
Stanchel says, in the Street Fighter 4 days, someone once sent me hate mail calling me a 5-penny twammer. What's the best gaming abuse you've received? Dave, you must have some of these, because I'm sure you've received abuse.
That's, 5-penny
yeah,
twammer, that's a reference to the Armando Iannucci shows.
There's oh god, yeah, I can't think of any now, but I've had some.
Audio clips with people slagging us off. Like, can you do that anymore? Can you send voice clips to other people on it?
Yeah, you can
I used to
still
see
do that on
loads of them,
Xbox
like,
Live.
people, like if you played a game of Rainbow Six or whatever it was back in the day, and they would record a little audio insult. I used to love replaying them.
Yeah, I've had some classic ones that I can't remember off the top of my head. Usually after playing FIFA, they've been the main ones where I win a game and I just get abuse. I got abuse not too long ago for playing Rocket League. I was in playing 3-on-3 with 2 randoms on my side, and I was having a particularly bad match, and someone felt the need to send me a message saying you're shit and you shouldn't be playing, and I just turned around and went, yeah, I was shit that game, mate, sorry. And they just didn't know how to deal with that. They were expecting hate back, and instead they just got, I was pretty crap then, sorry about that, mate. And then it was just like, okay, we all got on with our lives, it was all fine. I can't think of anything. Sorry, I should have thought about it some more, but yeah, unable to quote any. Sean?
I had, do you remember ages ago when the Xbox dashboard used to be interesting, and they had Dan Marr and Andy Farron doing
Inside
stuff
Xbox.
on it. Yeah. And they did. It was like every week there was like I can't remember what they called it. It was like Have Your Say or something.
I remember this.
Yeah, and I wrote a thing about I can't. It was something about basically like don't just trade your games in. I can't remember what the purpose of it was, but it was something about like it was like at the time there was like loads of arguments about like trading stuff in, and everyone was doing it all the time. And there was all this stuff but it's taking money off the publishers. And I can't remember what my point was in the thing that I wrote, but basically, yeah, it was just like trying to encourage people not to trade stuff in. And yeah, I just got loads of hate mail from people. Loads of people messaging me, like, it's blatantly been paid for by Microsoft. They don't want people trading the games in because they're losing money. I was like, no.
Little do they know that you're actually played by Nintendo and not Microsoft. The chances, right? Okay, we're done for the night. We're all fucking tired, and we want to go to bed.
If you want to tweet us, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter or the computergameshow@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, iTunes, all the rest. Leave us a review. That'd be awesome. We'll also set up a Discord. So the tweet about join a Discord is a pin to the top of our Twitter account. So to go to twitter.com/computergamepod and join that. We're loads of messages each day. So get involved. That's about it, really.
This week on David Wants Free Shit, it'll be a PS4 Pro and a PlayStation VR headset.
And Farpoint.
And
Farpoint,
sorry?
might as well chuck it in.
Yeah,
well,
sure, I'm
it's
not
free,
gonna
isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's true. I'll sell that. If you send me a message, my DMs are open, I think, at David Turner's. So that's at David Turner's for sending me free shit. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for living it. See you next week. Goodbye. Love you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Kiss, kiss.